that. Let's go to the Big Apple, New York, New York. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. This is the first time I've listened to your show. I didn't know it was on the air. I don't get to listen to AM too much.
Why not?
Well,
you're an FM freak.
I'm an FM freak. I guess you can say that.
Well, we have a lot of FM stations as well, would you believe?
Do you really?
Yeah, we're, as you may know, this is not a local show you're talking to.
No.
And we have AM and FM stations all over the world. What can I do for you?
Well, I have a ladies' clothing business that is not doing so well. I'm in a mall. I'm in a very ritzy area in a mall. And the mall is owned by probably the largest landowner in the United States, with the exception of the U.S. government. And they have so many malls that they've bought this high-end mall as opposed to what they usually have, which is middle-class malls. They have totally disregarded the merchants' appeal to them towards increasing mall traffic, walking traffic. They are not providing us with any traffic. There's a high vacancy rate.
And the higher the vacancy, this kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. More vacancy, less traffic, more vacancies.
Yeah. And it's a vicious circle, basically.
Yeah. Are you guys advertising?
We are advertising. I'd like to know what I can do to prevent my business from going under.
Well, you see, the joy and the sorrow of a mall is you're so intertwined with other people's fates. I mean, you are relying on the traffic that they generate. They, in turn, rely on the traffic that you generate. You rely on at least one or more anchor stores that spend tons of money on advertising, that people will come in and they'll spill out of those stores and walk past yours. I'm not telling you something you don't know. And when any one of those ingredients starts to fail, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. Now, the big thing is to get more people in those other stores. How come is it because the traffic is so light or the rent is so high?
Well, the mall was built by an architect, and it's probably one of the most beautiful buildings in the entire country. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous building. This architect did very well with the mall, and he rented stores to Valentino, Yves Saint Laurent.
Tell me about the problem, though.
Well, the problem is that when this mall owner, this real estate owner, bought the mall from them about 2 or 3 years ago, they don't know what to do with it. It's like taking a guy who owns 100 Burger Kings and selling him Spagos, and he tries to run it like a Burger King.
Well, what are they doing that they shouldn't be doing? Well, what are the differences? What should you do in an upscale mall that you wouldn't do in the middle class mall?
Well, in a middle class mall, it really doesn't matter who you rent your spaces to as much as it does in a mall like this. In a mall like this, you want to rent your spaces to people like Yves Saint Laurent. And
you don't want a lot of popcorn concessions or whatever.
Exactly, and they've rented it out. Initially, they rented it out to a lot of tennis shoe places and real low end places that it's not like the lowest of the low, but it's not what we're looking for. And the mall has just gotten a reputation for mediocrity. There's very little traffic in the mall, and right now it's just a few days from Christmas. And if you took a mall count of how many customers there were in the mall at any one time, it's a very large mall, I'd say you come up with 30, 40 tops.
Well, in that case, I think you better look for a new place to have your business.
Is there anything that I can do? It's a very fine address.
I doubt it. It's a great address, but nobody's going there.
What can I do to bring people in?
Well, you can't personally do anything. The association, do you have a good anchor tenant? An anchor tenant?
We have.
That's a yes or a no.
Yes, we do.
Are they bringing in traffic?
They are bringing some traffic.
Some.
Not as well as their other chains.
Well, what kind? I mean, you're asking me what I do. I try to break my lease.
Do I have any recourse with this?
No, I don't think so.
Owner?
I don't think so. But if I had a unit that was losing like yours is, and losing where you're paying for traffic that's not being generated, I'd do my best to break the lease and go someplace where the traffic is. I mean, you see, if you said there's lots of traffic, but it's a lower class, meaning lower income traffic, all right?
Yeah.
I'd say change the lines. Your customers dictate what you sell. You don't dictate what you sell. But the traffic's not there, and you're paying for traffic, I get out.
Okay.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
To your family from the folks at Talknet.
Titusville, Florida. Hello there and welcome to Talknet.
How are you tonight?
I am just fine, thank you.
Great. I need your opinion on a cemetery's sales gimmick. Someone called my 85-year-old mother and told her she had won a $600 space in their memorial park. And someone would come out and explain it to her, and then all she needed to do was come in and sign a paper. Mm-hmm. And the lot was hers, no strings attached. So she went, she signed the paper. They didn't give her a copy of it. But they told her in a few weeks they'd send her the certificate or title. She wasn't sure which terminology they used. But before she's received the certificate, she received another call. Congratulations, you won $600 cemetery lot. She said, wait a minute. Said, I've already won one. I can't be buried but one time. And so at this point, I decided to call them today and see what was happening. And they're, pretty sleazy characters, I believe. They did a lot of sidestepping, but finally they said, well, this was only a portion of a $6,000 funeral expense. I don't know if this is illegal, and I don't know exactly what she signed. They insisted that she's not obligated, or I would not be obligated in any way to abide by this. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they're misleading.
Oh, well, from what you told me, I'm only going by what you're telling me. I couldn't agree with you more.
I don't know. I'll call the Better Business Bureau. I'm going to file a complaint against them for it. But is there anything else I should do or could do? The thing I feel badly about is a lot of older people. Now, like my mother, she thinks all of her funeral expenses are taken care of. Now, she's just as happy she can be about this. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are going to go out and spend their money, their savings.
Sure. There are so many people that prey upon the weak, the elderly, and whatever. Mm-hmm. And this just seems like another bunch. And unfortunately, you can't tell your mother. I mean, at this point, no. What's to be served? If your mother's happy, let's keep it that way.
That's what I thought, too.
But I would insist that you get a copy of what she signed. I don't care what they say.
How can I?
Well, you say, look, either I'm going to get a copy of what my mother signed, mm-hmm. or I'm going to have a long, serious talk with a district attorney. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not sure I can persuade him to come, but since he's my brother-in-law, I got to feel him,
right.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
And just you gotta push a little bit. Mm-hmm. This whole I'm reluctant to. I don't want to get involved in legislation. That bothers me. You have one routine has been worked to death.
Oh,
worked to death. I mean, well, you know that. How many postcards have you received?
Oh, that's true.
Well, but people keep falling for it, and as long as people keep falling for it.
That's too bad, because where you and I throw it in the trash.
Clearly, somebody doesn't, because otherwise these things would have stopped years ago. Mm-hmm. But I'd insist that I get a copy of that. Mm-hmm. You say you can do it the easy way, the hard way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they're a little hard to deal with, but I'll talk to them.
Well, let's make it a challenge.
Okay.
Okay, have a nice holiday.
Okay, you do the same. Thanks.
I shall. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Something wrong with that. Something lousy about that. Binghamton, NY. Hello.
Hello, Bruce. How are you tonight?
I am very, very well.
Bruce, I bought a commercial building about a year and a half ago, mm-hmm. and the initial price was like $200,000.
Yeah, why'd you buy it?
It was an area that was where you could return and make it a warehouse and make some money.
Okay, but you bought it to speculate, or did you buy it to house an enterprise that you currently own, or what?
No, I bought it as a speculation. I've done this a couple of times. I buy old buildings, mm-hmm. fix them up, rent them out, and then I try to either keep them or sell them. In this case, I put probably about another, maybe $1 million into the business.
Ooh, $1 million if you bought it for $2 million and put another $1 million in.
Yeah, so I got about $1.2 million in the building itself right now today.
Oh, that's cool.
And I got very low cost loans. I got a $480,000 loan at 5%.
It's a government loan?
New York State loan through Energy Department.
Oh, okay.
And then I got a $150,000 loan at 4%.
Okay, you got a lot of cheap monies. Now what?
Okay, so anyway, the company that I got in there that wants to now buy the building, and if I turn that around, I make probably $250,000. Or should I just retain the building? It's going to go up in value.
How do you know that?
Well, the economy is stable. It's paying for itself. Everything tends to escalate up.
Not necessarily. I've seen a lot of things escalate down. I mean, see, I get nervous when somebody says, well, it's bound to go up. It's bound to do nothing. May go up, may stay the same, may go down.
I mean, when do you sell? I mean,
well, we're back to this, all kinds of cliches, like a fast nickel is better than a slow dime. Pigs go to slaughter. Bulls and bears make money, and so on and so forth. You've only got $200,000 of your own money in there. And in 2 years, I think it was.
Oh, that's right.
You can turn $250,000. You've well over doubled your investment in 2 years. Now, I don't know how you figure, but by my arithmetic, that ain't too shabby.
Okay.
I'd like to do that about every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, I've done this a couple of times. I mean, I have a knack to do that. But you think let it go in?
I mean, no, wait a minute. I'm not saying that. I'm just suggesting to you that it is not all beer and Skittles. It's about to go up. Now, is there a way you can hedge?
I have some long-term leases. I mean, I really don't need to. I mean, I'm making payments now.
And you don't need the equity?
Not really. In fact, with the other properties, I have no write-off against it as it is. All that depreciation, all the interest. I mean, that doesn't do me any good in my income tax.
Well, there's another good well, of course, you're building up a reservoir of this stuff where someday you may need it.
That's correct. But
it seems to me the $250,000 profit has a lot to recommend it.
And I'm cash poor now. I mean, I have everything on the line on these buildings.
In that case, having a cash reservoir against untoward happenings has a lot to recommend it, doesn't it?
Right.
I get rid of it in that case. When you say you're cash poor, you have other properties. This way you can put that. You're going to walk away and you're going to wind up paying about $75,000 in taxes, right? Somewhere in that ballpark.
That's right.
You're going to walk out with $175,
right? Plus
your original $2 that you put in.
That's correct.
Was that leveraged, or was that borrowed, or was that your money?
No, that was I put a mortgage on another.
No one knows how much. There's $200,000 there in cash, plus you're going to walk out of here with $450,000 less $75 or $375 in cash.
Okay.
That's not too shabby. Nice cushion against the kind of things that we all have to put up with from time to time. No, given that set of conditions, I think I would be in a selling mode.
Okay, good.
I wish you well. Of course, another deal comes along. You'll have cash to move into it, too, won't you?
And there's always deals. I mean, it's unbelievable how you can find property and fix it and kind of turn it around.
As you said, just stop with there are always deals. Yep. I wish you well. Have a super holiday season. Yeah, my old man used to say that all the time. A fast nickel is better than a slow dime. A lot to be said for that. Hey, I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
WSBD.
Cayuse, or is it, Cayuse, California?
It's Cayucas.
Cayucas.
Yeah.
Well, that's close. What's on your mind, dear?
Well, Bruce, I need to buy a car. And I use my car for my job. I travel with it, and sometimes I drive as much as 300 miles in one day. But I only do this maybe once or twice a week.
So what's your overall mileage?
I would say last year I put on 35,000.
You're a heavy driver.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
And right now I have a big luxury car. Shall I tell you what make it is?
Sure.
Okay, it's a Peugeot. And it's got over 100,000 miles on it. So now everything that breaks is major money. So it's time to get rid of it.
Okay.
And plus I don't want it to die on me on the road. Right now it's in the shop dead. And so what my husband thinks we should look for a mid-size compact.
Oh, I think he's crazy.
I do too. That's why I thought I'd call you.
Okay.
And when I'm out on the road, I like to have something heavy around me, plus the fact that I'm just in it so much.
And you need something that's comfortable and you get a decent ride and so forth.
Right. He's concerned about the money.
You know, ask him if he's going to change his office to a telephone booth.
No, he's not.
Where he spends all his time.
No, he's really a nice guy, but
how much more money is it going to cost when you come right down to it?
Well, he thinks we should spend about $5,000. I'm thinking if I need to go as high as 10.
$5,000 for what?
For like say a used Honda or something, or.
And to drive 35,000 miles a year?
Yeah.
I think he's smoking lefty luckies, this boy.
No, he's not.
Or you love to defend the old man, don't you?
No, he did. Well,
he's just cheap. That's all, huh?
Well, he just doesn't have a whole lot of car sense, but he's not listening now.
Well, in that case, just tell him to butt out.
Okay, I will. I think probably he will listen.
Just butt out. Tell him I said to butt out.
Okay.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
You are spending an inordinate amount of time in your automobile.
Right.
It should be comfortable time.
Plus, when I'm on the road, there's like miles and miles between towns sometimes. Now, do you think I should go for something that's a year old or 6 months old or something, so as not to lose that? You know, when you buy a new car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you lose money.
That depends upon your budget and all sorts of other good things.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is this a personally, I would rather have a year-old luxury car than a new, smaller car. Okay. Anytime.
Yeah, I remember one time somebody else called you about a car, and you were saying big car or luxury car. I don't remember which.
Well, the kind of miles that you drive, yeah. I mean, I do the same thing. I drive an inordinate number of miles.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend a lot of time sitting in that pig. And I'm not about to sit there, you know, on a converted motorcycle or a skateboard with power on it. I want something around me that's solid, and I want to be able to, when I put my foot down on the floor, I want something to happen.
Right.
And I think I'm entitled to that, given the number of, if I drove 10,000 miles a year, that would be a different matter altogether. Right. End of story. So as I see it.
Okay. Now,
you're earning the money, by the way. Let him call. Let him. Do you have to ask? Does he ask you what he buys for the office? There really is a gackle.
You bet. We're the duck hunting capital of North Dakota.
You better have something going for you, a name like that.
Well, we do. We got a lot going for us.
What's on your mind, kid?
Well, I do a lot of computer work, and using a certain piece of hardware that enables a laser printer to do some fairly amazing things. And this morning, I made some discoveries with this unit that allows, well, what I found out is that I can make it do than what the manufacturer even thought it could do.
You mean you can make it do more, you mean?
Make it do more.
Okay.
So I called the manufacturer, who I am a reseller for, and being excited about what had happened, I sort of spilled all the information without, first of all, making some arrangement to be compensated for what I had learned. Of course, they're very excited about this because it could, you know, really enhance their sales quite a bit. It's a fast-growing company anyway. We had $2 million in sales just this last month.
The company or you?
The company, not me.
Mm-hmm.
The company. My question is, now after the fact, what would be some reasonable way of going to them and saying, you know, look, I got some good information here to you. What can we work out?
Just the way you said it, thing. Just the way you said it.
Okay.
I mean, you realize that you're walking around with an empty pea shooter here.
Right.
It's the question of their ethics. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's pretty well loaded this morning, but I let it go without thinking.
Indeed. You just discuss it with them and see what they have to say.
Okay.
You remind them there may be another. How old are you?
I'm 32.
And how old these guys run the company?
I've never met them, but I'd say they're probably in about the same age bracket.
Well, you might remind these guys that both of you be around the industry for the next 30 years, and what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
I mean that sincerely.
Well, one of the reasons I think it'd be really good press for them is to say, you know, not only do we listen, you know, to the little guys out there, but we take their suggestions.
Well, they can say that, but the word take is operative here. They didn't say buy, you said take, and they're liable to just do that, take it. I go back and just have a heart-to-heart. That's all you can do at this point.
Okay.
Take good care, kid.
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
Worcester, Mass. Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, baby. What's on your mind?
Well, I got this thing from, well, I can't say the name, but it's a beauty pageant.
Oh, beauty pageant. And, of course, you're gorgeous, right?
Of course.
You sound gorgeous to me.
Thank you. But I don't know if this is for real or what.
Well, talk to me. Tell me what it says.
Okay. It says something.
What is going on here? Somebody.
I don't know. Someone else is on the phone.
What are we calling from, the sorority house or something here?
No. Somebody else picked up on another phone.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Go ahead. They just click, coast to coast.
Okay. Okay, let's see. This is a pageant, and they just asked me, like, what are my hobbies and community activities or something.
Well, let's back up. How did they get your name, or do you know?
Well, they said that I've just read this thing, and they said that somebody had to recommend my name.
How old are you?
16.
Okay, this is a teenage contest now.
Yes.
Do they want any money from you?
Well, it's a $10.
That's enough.
To send the thing.
I heard enough.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay.
Because the likelihood is you'll send the $10 in and they'll get some more stuff and they'll want more from you and more from you.
Right.
Yeah. You know, there was long before your mother came on the scene in all likelihood. There was a lady in New York City, I believe. Her name was Texas Guinan. Mm-hmm. And she used to go out on the stage. And there'd be all the people sitting. This is during the Prohibition era, if memory serves me. Uh-huh. And she'd say to her audience, "Hi, yes, suckers." Well, she's got onto her reward, but she's got a successor. They just don't say it quite so clearly. Hang on to your $10.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish you well. You sound like a nice lady.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
1370 WSPD.
Earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. Hello there.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. Hey, I work for a medical equipment company now, and I'm planning on going out on my own and starting my own medical equipment company in the same area. And the person who had the position before I did, when he left, he was required to sign a form stating that he wouldn't work for another medical equipment company in the area.
It's called a non-compete clause. Mm-hmm. Not uncommon.
Okay. I'm sure he's going to present this to me when I confront him and tell him I'm going to start my own business. And am I required to sign it?
Oh, wait a while. Let's back up a little bit. You are working for the company currently.
Yes.
You have signed no non-compete.
No.
Well, what possible reason would you have to sign it now? You generally sign these when you come on board, and the carrot is if you want the job, you sign. But you're ready to leave now. Right? Mm-hmm. Are they paying you some kind of a huge bonus on your way out the door?
No.
Well, why in the world would you sign it now?
Well, he was required to sign it when he left.
How can you require somebody unless you have a big cannon?
That's what I was wondering about.
What kind of a cannon could they hold?
I thought he might hold your last pay or something.
Well, that's the last pay, but how much? Maybe he had residuals in terms of commissions coming for 6 months. That's a cannon, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Depends on how big a cannon it is.
Uh-huh.
But under ordinary conditions, there's no way they could require you to do that.
Okay, well, that sets me at ease.
Okay, relax.
I appreciate it.
Take good care.
Thank you.
You know, speaking of San Francisco, a lot of you guys have asked about, are we raising any funds for the earthquake victims? The answer is no. But I would like to let you know the Red Cross has a disaster relief number in operation 24 hours a day. And if you'd like to help your neighbors in the Bay Area, you can just call 800-453-9000. 800-453-9000. That's what America's all about. People helping people. And, of course, this program is heard on KNBR in San Francisco. La Crosse, Wisconsin. Hello there.
Yes, Bruce. What a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much.
I've listened to the program several years. Just love it.
Indeed. I was in La Crosse not too long ago, if memory serves me.
Yeah.
What can we do for you?
Well, I'd say I'm confused. I've just recently went with a company and been with them a year. Uh-huh. And I see so many opportunities. Jobs are coming at me so fast that I'm not for sure what to take.
Tough position to be in.
Yeah, well, I guess what confuses me, first of all, is the matter of dollars, and then how to best strategically set myself.
Well, I'm not sure what you said.
Okay, there are pay raises in these, but they're relocations, which I don't have a problem. But we're looking at different parts of the country.
All right, for example, if you're going to move from La Crosse, Wisconsin to Meriden, Connecticut, you better get a hell of a jump.
Right, and I'm trying to figure out what that needs to be.
Well,
and I know it's tough to say, but I've already checked what my house is worth and what I've got into it, and looking at the housing market somewhere else.
All right, well, let's back up just a tad,
okay,
shall we? There are a number of things in your life that will not change materially from area to area. The cost of a box of detergent is going to be about the same no matter where you go. Yeah, there'll be some minor differences, but about the same. That's true of significant number of grocery items. Now, clearly, whole produce that is produced in one area is going to be cheaper. I mean, orange is going to be cheaper in Central Florida next month because of they're growing them there, right? But on balance, there are a number of things that are constant throughout the nation. If you're going to go out and buy yourself a Ford Escort, it's going to cost about the same in La Crosse, Wisconsin, or in Hartford, Connecticut. It might cost a little more in California because of the pollution devices and so forth. But you can see where there's not going to be much difference there, right?
Right.
But there are three things that are significantly different, and the one that varies the greatest around the nation is shelter. You are in an area where shelter is relatively modestly priced.
Yes.
There are less expensive areas, but not too terribly many, I must tell you. There are other things that if you went out to, I've been in La Crosse on several occasions, all right? And if you went down to the corner tavern and you wanted to get a shooter, you could probably buy four, or it would cost you to buy one in New York.
Yes.
So if you're a drinking man, that's going to be a consideration, isn't it?
Yep.
Same thing is true with other things in your life in terms of services. Materially cheaper where you are now than some of the other parts of the country. But shelter is the biggie.
Yes.
That can vary. The USA Today did a thing here. This is 6 months old, but it's a pretty good study. They took two homes. If you looked at them, they looked like they were almost cookie cutters, all right? How about the requisite palm tree in the front yard and the gravel driveway and so forth. But one was in Oklahoma. The other was in Southern California. The one in Oklahoma was 70-odd thousand. The one in Southern California was 700 and some odd thousand. Same house. So if you're going to move to Southern California, you better get a big goose.
Yeah, I guess that's what's really concerning because I'm not sure of the dollars. I've spoke to a realtor at the area that I'm going.
Where are you going?
To Denver.
Denver, you won't find much difference.
You don't think?
No, sir.
It looks big at this time.
Housing in Denver is not. Housing is depressed in Denver right now. You make some fabulous buys.
Well, here's the two things that have happened so far. We've talked to a realtor here. We've owned the house just a year, and we can come out even.
All right.
Is that good?
Oh, you're not coming out even. You're coming out ahead.
Okay.
For two reasons. One, ordinarily in a real transaction, it takes 2 or 3 years to get your expenses back. And secondly, where have you been living for the last year?
I'm in Wisconsin.
No, but where have you been living? In the house, haven't you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's not free.
Right.
You're coming out ahead.
Okay, right. That's why I said that looks very good.
Okay.
Then compared to Denver, say for similar housing and looking at schools because there's kids involved, things like that, we're talking about 110,000, 120,000.
Versus what we have now?
70,000.
I don't think there'll be that much of a spread. Now, you've done your homework, and I assume you've done it accurately, but I don't think that spread is there.
You don't think?
No, sir. The real estate market in Colorado right now is depressed.
So she might be leading.
It is so. I don't know if she's leading or not. I'm just telling you the real estate market in Denver right now is soft.
Right.
Well, that's fact.
Right.
And we're heard in Denver, and I'm sure somebody will jump on me if I'm incorrect, but I know them not.
Okay. So in kind of determining so maybe that's not even the factor then, is what you're saying. That
I don't think they're going to find a material difference between Denver and Wisconsin.
Okay.
Colorado. Let's just take the whole state of Colorado and Wisconsin.
Okay. The other side of my question is I'm finding so many jobs coming at me with the same company, and I'm a little concerned in jumping too quick. I stayed with another company 9 years, and now I made a move, and it looks like I'm going to be moving around so much.
But you're moving within the company.
Right. Is that no problem to people?
Why would that be a problem?
Well, sometimes I think because it's not the same supervisor, not the same department, that people would feel that it was hurting them, and he'll come and help you, and then he'll leave.
Nonsense.
You don't think? Okay.
No, sir.
And the other option, London has come up. London, England.
Yeah. Now get your checkbook out, baby.
And it's very non-specific on wages because they're covering cost of living plus a salary.
All right. Well, I mean, the housing, groceries, everything you can think of just about in England is going to cost you more money than where you are now.
Right.
I can't think of anything that will cost you less.
That's what they're saying.
Except health care.
Okay.
Health care would cost you less.
Strategically for my career, is there any advantage of having something like that on your path?
Well, I don't know the company. I mean, some companies promote. You go to the overseas division, you become a manager, and that's where they start to get their top executives from. I don't know what your company's policies are.
Right. So,
just having worked as being an expatriate is no great credential. It is certainly worthwhile, but it is no great credential in today's marketplace. But it may well be that the last 4 CEOs came out of the European division. I don't know that. That's something you ought to know about your own company.
Right. No, it really is not. It's just opening up. We're just opening up abroad now. So
no track record. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yep. Yeah. I guess I'm real conservative, And having all these opportunities, I'm a little nervous.
What a tough life. Grab them and go. You see, there's other variables. I only have a few seconds here.
Okay.
There's other variables. I mean, it ought to be. I would find it exciting if you have not lived abroad to have the opportunity to live in a different culture. Well, it's not so different from our own, but it is different. That would, and to raise your kids for a year or 2 or 3 to go to schools in a different area would certainly be broadening.
Right.
On the other side of that, it may be that the Denver office is where the action is really going to be with your company. You've got to. Pardon?
It is.
Well, if that's the case, then I mean, if you want to be a fast tracker, Denver, the home office, is the place to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because those are where the decisions are made, and those are the guys you got to impress. It's a nice menu to select from. Choose well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. It's long about 8 years ago. There were some interesting things happening in the RCA building high above Manhattan. At that time, there was only one national talk program. That was Larry King. He was the only one, to my knowledge. Bill, if you remember your radio history, he was the only guy doing national stuff. That was on November the 2nd, 1981. There was a young fellow named Maurice Tunick and another vice president of NBC, Dick Penn. Maury Trumbull was in evidence, and a whole bunch of people from NBC. And would you believe we began a thing called Talknet? That's right, with 26 affiliates. Some of the small stations and some not so small. The vast majority of those 26 stations are still in our stable. Not all, certainly, but the vast majority. We began the thing at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on November the 2nd, the first Monday after Halloween. Well, that was 8 years ago. And we've grown from those 26 stations to 300-plus stations, the number one talk presentation in the nation. It's been fun. And it's been a lot of people around this country that made the thing possible. Now, there's no way in the world we can thank them all, individually certainly, but collectively, I wish to thank you guys. You've made this thing happen. Of all of the people involved with NBC, and that was hundreds of people, there are but 3 of us still with the company. Craig Simon, Bob Wogan, and myself. If there's somebody hidden around in some dark office with chains on their ankles I don't know about, I apologize. With the best of my knowledge, of certain people who are even remotely visible, there are only 3 of us remaining with the company. A lot of new people, a lot of young people, and it's been fun watching the sleigh ride. It really has over the past 8 years. And we are going to have a little bit of a celebration toward the end of this month on the 28th of November. If you're in the New York metropolitan area, that means New York, Eastern Pennsylvania, in the Worcester, Mass area, or Hartford, certainly the New Brunswick, Princeton area, I would hope that you might come by and see us. It'll be held at the Sheraton Hotel in the Meadowlands, right off New Jersey Turnpike, lots of parking, good restaurants, and whatever. I will be doing this thing we call an Evening with Bruce Williams. I'll be doing one of those tomorrow night in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and one here, as I mentioned, the 28th of November. Tickets are available through Ticketron. The Golden Circle tickets, that means up in front with some extra privileges and refreshments and all kinds of good stuff for $25 a shot. We have a limited number, and this is kind of an experiment, of general admission tickets with no refreshments. We found out how much they were costing for $10. You can call Ticketron, and they will be good, or they'll be available through next Friday, I believe. Perhaps longer, but I'm not sure. So if you'd like to come and see us, I really hope you will. We'll have you'll meet all the Talknet hosts and behind-the-scenes people and whatever. And there will be, the room doesn't hold that many people, so it'll be a nice little affair. You'll get to meet us and get to meet me, of course, and me you. So it's 28th of November, tickets through Ticketron, $10 a smash for general admission with no refreshments. Those of you that hold the higher price general admission tickets have a choice. You can have the refreshments with us, or you can get the refund at the door. The choice will be yours. That's 28th November, so do call Ticketron and do get together with us. Naples, Florida. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
I've been back with you in New York way before Talknet.
Why? Go back to WMCA days.
I didn't want to mention the name.
Well, why not? I mean, that's where I was on WMCA for 3 years prior to coming to Talknet 8 years ago today.
Well, I certainly got amazed at your ability. I've relocated more or less into Naples.
It's a lovely city, let me tell you.
Yes, and we bought a business here, and we have an opportunity also to buy the property. It's part of our lease.
All right.
And we don't know whether to pay off the business, mortgages, or purchase the property. We don't intend to stay here too long.
Well, that was my... When we say you don't intend to stay there, do you mean you don't intend to operate this business there, right, but someplace else?
This business here.
You're going to sell the business?
In a short period of time.
Define short for me.
Within a year.
What kind of business?
It's fast food.
Freestanding building?
Yes.
How long a lease do you have?
We have 7 years all told.
With an option?
An option, but naturally options are negotiable. Whatever the profit will bear.
What's the business worth?
Beg your pardon?
What is the business worth? You wanted to sell it today, or what'd you pay for it? Do it either way, I don't care.
We paid $250.
Yeah.
Did a lot of negotiating, and I think it was underpriced.
What do you think you'd sell it for today?
I wouldn't even consider less than $3, $3.25.
All right. What would induce me to buy it with such a short lease?
It's the top store in this. It's a franchise.
Yeah.
It's the top store in the area.
Fast food?
Yes.
My question stands, though. You got a rope. What happens if the landlord 7 years from now says, goodbye, Charlie?
Well, nice thing about this lease, we were going to purchase property when we bought the business.
Yeah.
Then upon looking at the lease, it said they must sell it to us if we want to buy it.
Any time within the 7 years?
Any time. Just have to get 3 appraisals. Ours, theirs, and a middleman.
Mm-hmm. How much is the building? If you wanted to buy the building, how much?
It's really not worth that much. It's an old building.
How much?
The property itself?
Yeah, the whole work.
Oh.
Not the business.
I would say about 160.
Would seem to me, now I don't have all the information that I'd like to have to make a decision of this kind, but if I had to make one based upon what you've told me, I'd buy the business. I'd buy the building.
I thought so.
It seems to me that the business would be much more marketable owning the real estate outright. And if worst comes to worst, you can always take a mortgage back on that when you sell it.
I thought possibly selling the business. Naturally, I would never probably get all my money. I'd have to give a mortgage on it.
Oh, I think the chances of that are 99 to 1.
Right. And owning the property would give me more leverage.
Absolutely. Clearly.
Well, once again, I certainly am. If I were up in New York, you'd see me out there.
I appreciate that.
And in the inner circle.
There you go, in the golden circle, huh?
Well, God willing, you'll be down here while I'm here, or I'll catch you one of these days.
I would like to. We did a show in Naples about 3 years ago, I think. So perhaps we're about ready to come back.
Boy, I wish you would.
All right, my friend.
Sure.
Take good care.
Thanks a million, babe.
Okay, babe.
Bye.
Yeah, we do take our little show on the road. I'll be in, as I mentioned, in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow night, and then in Reno, Nevada on Sunday for the opening of the Harris Museum. So if you're in the Tulsa area, I do hope you'll drop by and say hello. Or in the Reno area, come to the opening of Harris on Sunday. It should be quite an event. A lot of flying, though, I got to tell you. I have to go from New York to Dallas to Tulsa to Dallas to Reno to Dallas. I'm going to start voting in Dallas if I get there one more time. St. Louis, Missouri. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am fine.
Great. Last year I just graduated from college, and part of the financial aid package was that the method of payment was having the bank automatically withdraw $1,000 from my folks' savings account each month for 10 months.
$10,000.
Or $1,000 for 10 months. Yes.
Well, $1,000 a month for 10 months.
Right. Yes.
That's
okay.
That's
and
10 grand.
Right. It's a lot. And approximately a year ago, for 2 months, instead of withdrawing $1,000, the bank deposited $1,000.
Oh, my goodness.
So
$2,000 mistake.
Yes, in October and December of last year. And
they did that twice?
They did.
So that's a $4,000 mistake.
Yes, it is. And, well, my parents kept quiet about it. They probably should have pointed it out, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. And the bank didn't discover it until just last week, which has been almost exactly a year. Mm-hmm. And the bank, without consulting us, just pulled the $4,000 underneath us.
Well, what would you expect them to do?
Well, I would think that we would be able to somehow arrange a payment plan.
Why?
Well, what if we had spent that money?
What if you had? Then they wouldn't have taken it out of your account.
Right.
Then they would have arranged the payment plan.
Right, but what we're saying is that we agree that we're willing to pay the money back, but it was just they all of a sudden yanked it out underneath us, and I was wondering.
Well, they didn't yank it out from underneath you at all. They didn't do that at all. They did was they withdrew what was due them.
Right, but shouldn't they have notified us, and all of a sudden, as opposed to just all of a sudden finding a $4,000 withdrawal from our account?
If you were keeping your records accurately,
right,
then you wouldn't have counted that $4,000 into your balance anyway.
Right.
So no, I don't think they acted improperly.
I see. So that we have no. I mean, in other words, we would have been more agreeable had we been able to repay them $4,000 gradually.
I understand that, but that isn't those were not the terms of the loan.
Okay.
Did they didn't charge you interest on the $4,000, did they?
No. I
think the interest on $4,000 for a year's time would have been at 10%, simple $400. So I don't think you're real. I understand you're shocked. Don't misunderstand me.
I mean,
but I don't see what. I think they might have made a phone call, but their position might be if they made a phone call, you'd been running down taking the money out of the bank.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's why they didn't make the phone call. Good luck, kid.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more, because this is Talknet. We go to Houston, Texas. Hi there. How are you?
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I am real well.
Great. I've been listening to your program for many years now, and I really like it.
Thank you.
The reason I'm calling is my wife and I are having a difference of opinion. Basically, what happened is a friend of mine and my wife came over with their baby. It's approximately a year old today.
Your child is a year old?
No, the lady that came over to our house, her baby's about a year old.
All right.
And while the two of...
Well, I am. I'm having a good day.
All righty. What's on your mind?
I have a question for you concerning starting a small business.
All right.
I make greeting cards or note cards, and I've been making them out of my home and selling them in bazaars.
How do you make them? Do you screen print or what?
I do calligraphy, and I make a master, and I take it to a print shop, and they print them for me.
Okay.
And then I bring them back, and I do watercolor on them.
Boy, that's all hand done, huh?
Yeah, and it's kind of a novel thing, and people out in this area anyways really appreciate handcrafted items.
I think that's true in the entire country.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I've been approached by a card representative, and he thinks that he could sell my cards for me and make this into a real business for me.
When you say a card representative, what does that mean?
He's an independent contractor, and he used to work for a major card company, I'm assuming.
You shouldn't assume that. You ought to ask him.
Well, I guess I do know that.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's on his own now, and has been for the last 2 years, and he's a friend of a friend, and he would like to represent my cards throughout the state of Oregon to little greeting card shops and specialty shops.
All right.
And it's fine with me. I pay a commission when I put them in a bazaar, so
whatever. There's some built-in costs. I understand that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, now if I'm going to really do this as a business, is it necessary to get a business license?
Well, first of all, you're doing this from your home. Is that not true?
That's correct.
The likelihood is you are destroying all the zoning ordinances in your area. I mean, you're really doing a number on them. Let's start with that premise, okay?
Okay.
All right. So that if you're going to do it and start creating traffic and whatever, the chances are you have to start doing this out of a legitimate location, which is a problem because then the overhead begins.
Well, no one will actually be coming to my home.
All right. Well, let's assume that I hear the squirrels in the background there.
Yeah, pardon me.
That's all right. Now, let's assume that we can get past that, albeit temporarily. But the one thing that you want to remember is that right now you're getting home free in terms of rent and whatever utilities.
Right.
And don't ignore that, because when you do go legit and you get a little bit bigger, that overhead is going to be there. And if you ignore it now and structure your cost of doing business, taking into account you're not paying that stuff.
Right.
When it comes time to pay it, you can go belly up. Now, you're going to have to account for the money. Do you have a sales tax in Oregon?
No, we don't. Well, no, we don't.
You do or you don't?
We don't.
Okay, then you don't have to worry about buying things and paying a sales tax.
Right.
All right, then equipment and supplies and that sort of. Do you buy anything out of state?
No, I don't.
All right, then you have no problem in that regard. You will have to have the appropriate, you have to start filing, I hate to break this lousy word up, 2 words, income tax.
That's what my next question.
You're gonna have to start filing a quarterly estimated return, which is a nuisance.
A quarterly? Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Every 3 months in advance, you got to send the money. Isn't that nice?
Before I make it.
Before you, that's right. Oh, hey, listen, that guy with the whiskers doesn't mess around. Sure, before you make it, you got to set it down in advance. That's the way it goes.
Okay.
And you really ought to consider. I mean, I don't know how much money is going to change hands here. Another thing, are you copywriting your merchandise?
Well, no, that's another consideration.
It's not a concern. It's a requisite.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, it's not expensive, and you should protect this. Otherwise, if you're any good, somebody's going to lift it. They'll lift it anyway.
Huh.
But at least the copyright will give you a modicum of security.
And what's involved in doing that?
Piece of cake. Just to contact the Library of Congress. They'll be very happy to send you a little booklet that tells you how to copyright. It's inexpensive and it doesn't require brain surgery.
Oh, okay.
That's easy.
Okay.
And you may have to get a federal ID number. What you would be advised to do in my judgment is sit down with somebody, probably an accountant, let him work out really elementary set of books. He doesn't have to keep them every day. Get the proper IDs together. You're off and running, and I hope you make a ton. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
The helping phone number is 1-800-TALKNET.
Mineral Ridge, Ohio. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. I'm delighted. I'm finally talking to you.
Son of a gun.
Well, I have a very petty problem compared to the other callers. But it's a case of buying a waterbed.
Oh, waterbed?
Yes, a waterbed.
Yeah, you like those things?
I love it. Well, I used to. Yes, I used to love it.
Well, now what?
Well, I purchased it, and I agreed to have them come out and deliver it and install it.
Okay.
So that was fine. And the evening they were going to install, I called because they were 2 hours late. They said, "Oh, we're running late. That's normal." I said, "Well,
we're running late. That's normal."
Right. So I guess I was kind of talked to like, do you expect us to be on time? But, you know.
Don't you love that where people don't respect your time, but God forbid you shouldn't have been there on time.
Oh, or make your payment late? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh. But he did arrive, and before he arrived, I said, please let me know if you have everything, because my apartment's so small, I'm taking everything I own to the dumpster. So you can put this new bed in. Trust me, we have everything. Get everything out of my way. So I did that. He arrived. He did not have everything. We ended up sleeping on the floor. So the next night...
How cozy.
Oh, it was great. Because, you know, we have a loft apartment, but the downstairs is on a cement slab, so there's only the carpeting between you and cement. It wasn't, you know, not romantic at all.
I was just going to say it sounds romantic, I guess.
Nah. We had lost our sense of humor.
I hear you.
So then the next night he arrived and proceeds to tell me, you know, today was my day off, and they're making me finish this job.
Oh, how terrible.
And I said, okay, so he proceeded to put it together. He actually screws clear through my bed to the outside. And I said, no, this doesn't get it. So he took them out. He goes, no problem, I'll put in filler. So he did that. And I'm, you know, starting to lose my love for this bed immediately.
I wonder why.
So anyways, he proceeds to put everything together, and the bottom there's a base on it, and it was way off. It wasn't even.
You know, there usually is a base on a waterbed because you total a ton of weight in there.
Right. It's a drawer set. And I said, this is not even. He goes, you want me to even it up?
Why, no. I just brought it to your attention because I thought it would be kind of good conversation.
Yeah, I thought, well, this is why I hired an installer, you know. I could do this. So anyways, he evened it up, and he starts to fill it, and naturally he leaves. Well, after he leaves and the water starts to fill up, the bed crashes, because when he was evening up my bed, he moved the supports and they weren't in place. So I called. Fortunately, the store was open and my salesman came out and he lifted the support back up, and it was difficult because we had to drain the bed again. So he climbs under there and he's trying to fix it. So he assured me there'd be no more problems. 2 weeks later, the top of the headboard falls off and the headboard crashes to the floor. The whole rail at the top is gone. And I call him and he says, well, drain your bed. So I drained it again. He comes out and fixes it. Here the installer had only put in half-inch screws because those are the screws I told him were too long. They had come out the side of the bed. So I still don't have it finished. I mean, there's pieces to go to it. Am I out of line by being disappointed?
You gotta be kidding. You're a very patient lady. I would want the whole thing to go back just the way it is.
See, that's what I want. Right now, it's like...
It's got extra holes in it. Screws are pulled out. They had to put wood filler in. I'd tell them I want this bed going back. Do you owe them any money, I hope?
No, I don't. The only thing I owe them for is the installation, which is a lousy $40.
And how much the bed cost?
This is where it gets petty. It's only $700.
What do you mean only $700? You want to send me a check? I'll give you my address.
Well, no, Bruce. Compared to some of your other callers, I mean, this is Betty.
Yeah, let me ask you something. You ever get a splinter?
Pardon?
Did you ever have a splinter?
Yes, as a matter of fact, this waterbed gives me them right in the elbow because it's so...
Oh, I'm glad it's the elbow. Wow,
yeah, it's almost like a barn finish, and I had imagined a nice bed.
The point being that even a splinter only weighs a tiny fraction of an ounce, but it can be very, very irritating. When you got a splinter, I would talk to these folks and say, I want one of two things going to happen. You're going to deliver a brand new waterbed here, or we're going to go to court and see why. You didn't pay for something with punched holes in it by an installer who didn't know what he was doing, or holes that have been reamed out because you only had half-inch screws, and when you're dealing with substantial amounts of stress.
Okay, well, he's trying to lead me to believe that I expected too much.
Nonsense.
He was, because
What you expected was a brand new functioning bed.
Right, and the biggest kick is I didn't even get this on sale.
Well, spoken like a true shoposaurus.
I mean, this wasn't even a scratch and dent sale.
Oh, boy. I think you have every right to a new bed. Not a repaired bed, a new bed. And if they didn't do it, frankly, I'd see them in small claims court to get the judge to order them to do it.
So you truly believe I have something here? I mean...
Yes, ma'am, because you didn't get what you paid for.
Right, because I wanted to get your opinion, because usually you're right on the money.
No, I don't know about that, but this time I think that you were on very sound ground.
Well, see, my husband, I won't allow him to deal with this at all, because he wants to put it through their front window.
Well, that doesn't... You are more mature than your husband. I can understand his emotion.
Yeah, because I just keep telling him to leave when they come to fix it again. Just leave.
I would send this sucker back.
Okay, great, Bruce. Hey, you're coming to Youngstown. What are the chances of getting tickets from your end of the world?
You don't have a ticket?
No,
Well,
I've been begging.
You've been begging?
I have. I called everybody that had them, and they go, we're sold out. I go, don't you just have even a half of one?
You don't have to beg anybody. I want you to hold on.
Okay.
Sheila, would you take this lady's name and address? And tomorrow, Sheila, I'm just talking at you, baby. Would you give our Phil in Youngstown a call? And I want a couple. You and your husband, right?
Yes.
I want 2 tickets for this lady, and have the station mail them to him. Okay?
Oh, you're wonderful.
Okay, sweetheart. We'll see you in Youngstown. I think this is about the 14th, something like that. 13th of November.
Okay, don't be late. We'll be there.
See you then.
Thanks.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Hello there, and welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I've got a problem. I've got a small business in my home, and I advertise in a national magazine that sells craft items, which is what I make. And I signed up last spring for a full-page ad, which cost $750. And they said the ad would be out in August. And I have a seasonal item, so I thought that'd be great for Christmas.
Is August a good time to advertise that? I don't know.
Well, it's a good time to start.
Okay.
And the magazine sent me a notice that, well, our printing problems caused a delay, and it won't be printed until the 1st of October.
What, the whole magazine?
The whole magazine.
Oh, boy.
So I didn't see it on the newsstands here in Sioux Falls until last week. And this is the only time of the year I really make any money, so I'm very disgusted. And
is this the only place you advertise?
It's the only place I advertise.
What kind of a product do you have?
I have personalized sweatshirts. I designed a transfer that I put on them, and then I personalized them with, like, grandchildren's names.
Gee, couldn't you? I mean, if things are going well, though, aren't there other... I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't advertise where you do, but are there not other places that you could be advertising to develop more business?
Well, what suggestions do you have?
Well, I mean, there are catalogs.
Well, this is a catalog.
I mean, there must be others. What I'm saying is there's got to be more than one place to advertise the kind of product that you just described to me.
Right. But what do you think I should do about this?
Oh, there's much you can do.
You don't think that they have an obligation?
They haven't published it yet?
They have published it. It's out now.
It's not. I mean, I would think that if you're saying to me that it comes out this late, I can't do business. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm sure business will be decreased drastically compared to last year.
Because of the late publication date?
Yes.
Well,
and I advertised with them last year, and I can show them.
Well, if you can show what you did last year, and if it falls off materially, then I think you have something to gripe about. Whether you can collect from is another matter.
They're feeling a little sheepish about it. They're offering $600 worth of free advertising in their home video, whatever that is.
Well, I have no idea whether that's appropriately priced, whether it would be any good for you or not. But I would do this, though. There are other magazines, other vehicles, inserts in newspapers. Having all your eggs in one basket, as you can see, can be a very, very troublesome environment. I take a look and see what you do this year. If it's off material, then I go negotiate with them. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Harrison Township, Michigan. It's your turn. Hello.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hi.
Pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
I would like to draw upon your infinite wisdom for a truly unique answer to a very simple question.
Well, there is some that is some kind of a setup you just handed me.
I've never heard anybody ask you this in over the years, so I think I've got something really unique here. I have an attorney who is, would you say, conducting legal services on my behalf without charge.
All right.
And
he's doing you a favor.
He's doing me a favor.
Right.
And other than just taking him to dinner, which I want to do something for him.
Well, can you give me some idea of the magnitude of this transaction?
It's a simple landlord-tenant problem, and it roughly entails $2,200 worth of rent. My job has transferred me, and they're not living up to their agreement.
What I'm trying to get to is, how much time do you think he's going to devote to this matter?
The time it takes to send a couple letters.
All right, so it's a very nice accommodation, but not a huge accommodation.
Right.
Well, you don't want to go overboard then in returning it, because what you're trying to do is kind of even things out, as opposed to getting ahead of him.
Yeah.
Because that's not a nice thing to do. Because then he may feel he owes you again, you see.
Right.
All right. How old is this guy?
He's in his 40s, I believe.
Successful?
Pardon?
Is he successful?
Yeah, a good law firm he works for.
Well, what I'm trying to get to, you see, is what does he do? What does he like in life? Does he drink good champagne? Does he enjoy fine clothing? Does he collect some kind of either a porcelain or something? Tell me a little bit about the guy.
That's my biggest problem, because
call his secretary.
We met at work.
Call his secretary.
Okay.
And find out where the guy. For example, I happen to enjoy. It sounds silly. Birds. Because I have paintings and I have some porcelains and wood carvings and whatever. I just happen to think birds are pretty graceful and pretty creatures, and I've got a fair amount of stuff that has to do with birds, okay? I have some carvings and, as I mentioned, some other stuff. All right, and on occasion, someone who is, where I've done a favor for them, they have known this, and they've given me something to add to my kind of little collection. My daughter-in-law collects turtles for whatever reason. And most of her close friends know that, and so if they're traveling and they see a jade turtle or something, they might pick it up for her because she enjoys turtles.
Okay.
Now, there's got to be, in most of us, there's something that we enjoy or something that we have an interest in. Now, the likelihood is if his secretary's been with him for any length of time, she would know what he enjoys.
Okay.
It might be, for example, this guy really enjoys fine wines. So you go down to your liquor store that has a good cellar, and you might buy a bottle or two of some vintage that he ordinarily wouldn't buy for himself. It doesn't have to be real expensive, but it's the kind of thing that shows you're a lot more thoughtful because you've taken the time to find out where his interests are. It could be that one of his kids has done something really. Let's assume that he's got a 15-year-old kid that scored 3 TDs in the last football game, okay? Well, maybe the clippings, matted and framed, talking about that event would be something that would be pretty interesting to him. It certainly would if it was my kid.
Okay.
Something personal like that.
Well, I tell you, as usual, best advice in the world.
You're very kind.
When are you coming our way up towards Detroit?
Matter of fact, I will be having dinner in Detroit in a couple of weeks with the winner of our contest here some months ago. But we have not been able to persuade WXYT to do a thing there yet. So whenever they're ready, we're ready.
I'll call first thing in the morning.
You got a deal.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks very, very much, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. 8 years ago today, we had our first Talknet presentation to our 26, 27, I'm not sure, original affiliates around the country. Now we are over 300 plus affiliates, and I want to thank each and every one of you that have made this thing work for us. 8 years. Long time, huh? We're having a little get-together here in New York, New Jersey area on the 28th of this month, 20th November, at the gorgeous Sheraton Hotel. It's in the Meadowlands area of New Jersey, just outside of New York City, just off of New Jersey Turnpike. If you're in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, you might want to join us. There are 2 classes of tickets available currently, the Golden Circle tickets, which are $25 a piece, and general admission with no refreshments. We found the refreshments were costing a ton for $10 a piece. They're available through Ticketron. I'd like to think that you'll have a great time. There'll be the Talknet hosts will all be there, as well as the behind-the-scenes people. The Golden Circle folks will have refreshments and get to meet us all a little privately as well, but the rest of you will get to meet us as well. I'll be doing this thing we call an Evening with Bruce Williams. It's been done all over the nation and to some reasonable success. I think you would enjoy it. So if you want to join us, whether you're in Princeton or New Brunswick area, Woodbridge, Hartford, come on down and say hello. Or certainly Long Island. The number of your nearest Ticketron is in the telephone directory. You can just call them with a credit card in hand, and they'll mail you the tickets. The Golden Circle tickets are going very quickly. Those are the $25 variety. And, of course, the general admission will be available for at least a week on this experimental basis of $10 a piece. I do hope a lot of you come by because we're going to have a great time. To Chattanooga. Well, that's quite a name. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Am I...
Oh, I'm sorry. I pushed the wrong button. And would you pick up 14 and apologize to that lady? Hello there, Chattanooga.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
Hi. Oh, this computer's confusing me. It was all my fault, and Sheila was right on the button, and I just made a mistake. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, Bruce, I got a question here for you. I'm the controller of a relatively small company, 150 employees, and we're profitable and we're stable, but we think we could be more profitable.
Well, doesn't everybody?
Right. Every once in a while, spoilage goes up and down, up and down.
What kind of business?
And well, we make lenses. We make eyeglass lenses. We make lenses for machines.
Well, you said spoilage. I was wondering if it's a perishable item, or you mean things blow?
Yeah, you have to be pretty precise, and if you don't get the thing ground right, you throw out a $30 lens.
Okay.
And we pay a bonus once a year to our employees if we had a decent year, and it's basically 1 week's pay. Pretty much hasn't changed for the last 3 or 4 years. And it is my opinion that we could use that bonus more effectively over the year, if we spread it out based on performance.
How would you do that?
Well,
let's take one employee. Employee makes $100 a week, so you got $20 a day to play with. How would you do that?
Okay, well, what my question is to you is, if I could come up with an incentive program, I think this might be what you're getting at. Do I do this by each employee? Do I do it by department?
I don't know. I don't know if that's your business to make. If you could do it individually, it certainly is where one guy could get it and the other guy can't.
It makes it a lot harder to measure.
Oh, of course it does. But let me give you a way out example of that, all right? Do you ever go to a casino?
I haven't personally, no.
Okay, well, in casinos, let's say a 21 table. People from time to time tip or toke the dealer. In other words, they whatever the dealer's real nice, they give him a tip.
Right.
But what used to aggravate me was that you have some dealer who's a first-class SOB, and they never got any tips, but they shared in the tips that the nice dealers got.
Right.
Because they all shared.
Right.
Well, you're in a similar situation. If you have 4 effective employees and one who's a real turkey, but not quite turkey enough to fire.
Right.
When you do it by everybody in a certain nomenclature gets the bonus, then the turkey gets it's as much as the guy who's really producing. But on the other side of that, it is far more difficult to administer a one-on-one proposition.
That's right.
Now, I don't know I would think that the second would be more effective, but whether the increased efficiency is worth the aggravation and bother is a whole different program.
The problem with that is that the jobs are so much different. Some jobs are real easy. Some jobs require a high amount of skill. So the guy's going to say, well, I broke more, so I didn't get a bonus. But my job requires 10 times the skill this guy's doing anyway, so really I'm doing better than he is.
Well, that may be, and that's what weighting is all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you were in college, you certainly had examinations and whatever that were weighted for some reason. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Well, then what's wrong with that? I mean, the horse races, they handicap, they put a little extra weight on the one horse.
Right.
So I have no problem with that. If you again, it becomes more difficult, but it can be done. Not certainly insurmountable.
Do you think I'm wrong, or we are wrong by paying a once-a-year bonus if we had a decent year? Because
Look, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think what people do is, they expect that. They get it. They're happy for a few weeks.
Well,
it's just like a pay raise. They always say, everybody wants more money. Well, if I give everybody in the whole place 10% more money, they'd be happy for a month, but they'd be back to just like they are today in a month, right?
Well, you see, you put your finger on the real flaw in what you're doing, because now it becomes just another expected, like the Christmas bonus. We always get one, so therefore it is a right rather than a privilege. It is not a reward, it's something I automatically get.
Well, that's why we haven't done it so far, because some of us think that after about 3 or 4 months, if they do a good job and they get a bonus, then they'll kind of expect it. But my answer to that is if they don't do the good job, they won't get it the next time.
Well, but you have some labor problems on your hands there. But you put your finger on the major flaw of what you're doing. It's expected that every December 24th there's going to be an extra week there, and so on and so forth. And then it becomes not an incentive; it just becomes another part of the pay process.
That's right, but would that happen if I spread that over?
I don't know that.
I don't know if you had experience.
I can think of some. I can think of some good reasons why you want to do it, and some other. Well, I've explored a couple of why you might not want to do it.
You might not.
There's some because of the administration.
Right.
It becomes monumental, really, and then you start to throw in the other variables that one job is more highly skilled than another. You certainly wouldn't do it if one guy is packing lenses and another guy is operating a grinding machine. You would anticipate the guy in the grinding machine would spoil more than the guy that's doing the packing. You'd also anticipate the guy in the grinding machine had more skills than the guy doing the packing, so you'd have to weight the thing. There's no way that everybody would just be on a basis of, you didn't break any, you get the highest bonus, therefore the kid in the mailroom who never handles any lenses at all gets the highest bonus. He never broke anything. I think that the waiting is more difficult, probably would be more productive. I wish you well, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
SPD.
San Francisco, California. How did you survive the earthquake, kid?
It was a real shaky. I was in my car at the time, and I thought everybody was hitting me. I was really being jolted around.
Boy, that must have been quite an experience, huh?
Real scary. I was in Golden Gate Park at the time, and the trees were really swaying. Everybody really had an unusual look in their face, I'll tell you.
I can think that's probably an understatement. What can I do for you?
Well, I own a dental laboratory on the west side of the bay, on the peninsula, and I live on the east side, in a new area on the north side, actually. And commuting, I can't get here early enough. There's only one artery left.
In the Bay Bridge?
Well, that one's out. That was the main artery.
Yeah, I understand that. So you got to go around the horn there.
Completely.
Yeah.
And I want to open up my practice, my business out there, and I've never had to start from scratch before. I bought this laboratory from a man I worked for 10 years.
Let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
If you move the business from where it is now to where you're living, does that mean all new clients?
Completely.
Then what are you going to do with the one you have now? Sell it?
No, I think I would just, I'd have to take all the equipment with me. As far as the accounts are concerned, I suppose I would just let him go.
Why? I understand that. I mean, we're not talking about the other side of the world here. Do you do your own delivering?
Yes.
Well, why don't you hire somebody to do that?
Well, this is a story. The man who sold the business when he retired decided to come out of retirement and has been plucking accounts away from me.
Well, you didn't say that. That's a little different variable.
Yeah, I know.
Did you have a non-compete with him?
Yeah, I did.
For how long?
For 5 years.
And how long is he going to...
It's been 2.5.
Well, then have you thought about taking him to court?
Yeah, but then I'd win the battle and lose the war as far as one accountant that I spoke to.
Why is that?
I mean attorney, pardon me.
Why is that?
Well, because this gentleman is an old-time technician, and he knows most every other technician in the whole area.
Crafts that I make, just general crafts out of wood, and I'm wondering, I have a full-time job and I only do this as a hobby. And I've given some to my sister and stuff, and she displayed them in the bank where she works, and people have come in and bought them. What I'm interested, I know there's craft shows, but I'm more interested in maybe putting them in an independently owned card store on a consignment type basis.
Why on consignment?
Well, that was my question. How do you do it?
You don't do it. You go in and sell them just like anybody else. That's the hard way.
Okay.
Anybody will take it on consignment, or not anyone, but it's easy enough. But the troublesome part of that equation is that consignment goods get the worst possible display because they have nothing to lose. Nobody has a real interest in you. Now, it's the easy way to get to the door.
Right.
And it's also an easy way for the storekeeper to get rid of you. Oh, sure, go ahead, stick it over there.
Okay.
If you're going to be serious, and you sound like you are, make up a sample line and go out and, like any other peddler, sell your wares.
So you sell them directly to the store, and then they sell them?
Just like everything else in their store.
Okay. Now, if I charge, the items are only charging like $8, and most expensive thing I make, I've sold for $50.
Well...
And, what do I want to make 100% or 50% of my money?
That's up to you, but you realize that, first of all, let's start with a premise. Unless it can be sold at retail, it's meaningless, right?
Right. Well,
and hold on now.
Okay.
And the retailer is going to mark it up at least 100%.
Right.
So if you sell it to him for 10, he's going to have to get 20.
I see.
Now, you got to figure out what it costs you to make in your time. And your sales time and the whole works.
Right. Okay.
And then... is that number that comes out the end there, let's assume that you have a dollar cost in material and a dollar cost in labor and a dollar cost in overhead. Well, that's $3, right?
Right.
You got to get at least 5 for it.
Yeah, okay.
And will it sell for 10?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And if it won't, then you got a bad item.
Right. And it depends on the item, too, and a lot of the things I make are seasonal and...
Of course. But that's the only way that I know to approach it.
Okay, that would be the best way.
It's the only way that I know of. I'm sure there are others. It's the only one that I know of.
Okay, well, thank you for your advice, Bruce.
I hope it works out well for you.
Thank you.
Sarasota, Florida. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce.
Hello. What's on your mind?
I just want to, me and my wife are going to have a house built within the next year. And we want to know what should we do when we're selecting a builder? So that, we don't...
What do you select when you hire or establish a relationship with any professional? What is it you look for? Look for integrity, track record, the skills to do what they say they're going to do, and then also the track record. Will they do what they say they can do? Many a guy out there is capable of doing the job, but doesn't get it done for whatever reason.
Yeah. So
now I'm curious about something. Why are you building a house?
Well, it's something that we just want to do. We're in a position where we can afford to do it. And
well, the reason I ask that is because in your part of the country, as these words are being spoken, you can get at least 50% more clout with your money by buying an existing home.
Well, the Sarasota market is really a fairly tight housing market. There's a lot of building controls and going on here.
Without regard to that.
But
you can still buy more in existing than you can in a brand new build.
Yeah, that's true. But we've got a location picked out that we want to be at, and
okay. I'm just curious. That's all.
So, who do we check with? Do we
Back to what do you do for a living?
I work for a software firm.
If someone were coming to your company to have some work done, how would they check you guys out?
Probably read some...
I don't even want you to answer the question. But wouldn't the same thing apply with checking out anybody else? You talk to people they've done business with. Okay. You talk to people in the financial community. In the case of a builder, you talk to people in the building inspections area in your community. Do they deliver what they said? Talk to some folks who live in homes they've already built.
Okay.
It's no different than the other professionals I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Don't make it any harder than it is. Good luck, my friend.
Okay, can I ask you something real fast?
You know, we have a terrible line. Go ahead.
Okay. I know you say people should pay their mortgage off at the last date, but we're getting a second mortgage put on our existing home until it sells.
Yeah.
And the bank has offered us a 0.25% differential if we open up a savings account and have it withdrawn. How do you know if that's a better deal?
Well, as a practical matter, it's not a bad deal. What they're saying is they don't want the hassle.
Right.
And for a 1/4 point, for the average bear, it's probably not a bad deal.
Okay.
Take good care, my friend.
Thank you.
Because technically, you could probably do better on your own, but as a practical matter, that's not a bad deal. I'm Bruce Williams. You bet. This is Talknet. Charleston, South Carolina. It's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I hope you can help me. I think I've been taken, but
you've been taken?
Your opinion?
Uh-oh. Who been fleecing you?
I was driving up to my home in New Jersey last summer.
Where in New Jersey?
Right outside Philadelphia.
Oh, the southern part of New Jersey.
That's right. And my car broke down, and I ended up getting a new engine, and I was completely by myself, and was just talking to a mechanic over the phone, and he seemed to think it sounded okay, and so I went ahead and got the new engine, didn't know the guy I was working with or anything. And in the process, he broke my windshield, along with a whole bunch of other things, but the windshield is what I'm concerned about. And I went back to him on my way home from New Jersey, and he said, he said, I know you want to get back to Charleston, so you get it fixed and send me the bill. That was probably my first mistake, so I did that and sent him a bill. And I called him back when I didn't get it in a couple of weeks, and he said, well, I never received that. So I sent him another one. Then I called back because I still didn't get the money, and he said, well, my insurance company lost the bill now. So then I sent him another bill, and with a certified, I did it certified that time, and I got it back, but then I still didn't hear anything, so I called back, and they said, well, Danny doesn't work here anymore. And so now he's out of the business. They don't know where he is exactly.
Well, what do you say he doesn't work there? What does that mean?
He sold the business.
Oh.
Is there any way, if I take him is it worth it to take him?
How much is involved here?
$235.
This is for the windshield?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have comprehensive on your car?
Yeah, but we didn't claim it through the insurance.
How long ago was this?
It was back in June of last year. So it's been almost a year of going back and forth with him.
I think you're wasting your time.
Okay, that's what my husband said.
Whether you can collect from your comp carrier this late is something else again. I kind of doubt it, but you could certainly try.
Okay.
Good luck. It's just I understand your frustration. I really do. But it's a point of no return.
Okay.
And I think you've passed that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take good care.
All right. Bye.
That is frustrating. It really is. Hey, we go to Fairbanks, Alaska. Hello there.
How you doing today, Bruce?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
I was out of town when you were here last.
Well, I'm going to be back. I'm coming again. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm expecting to get accepted for a job in the next 2 days.
All right.
However, it's a job that I need, but I really don't want. And
Hold on. Let's explain that to me.
Well, it's a job that I'm qualified to do, and I applied for it because I need a job. I got out of the military. I just got out.
Okay.
I need to work.
All right.
And although I really don't care for the job much, I need to work.
There are other jobs you'd rather have.
That's exactly it. And 2 other jobs I expect to be interviewed for in the next in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh boy. What kind of job? What kind of a job are you being offered? The first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Is to work for a security firm.
When you say security, you mean like a guard security or selling security?
Yeah. Manage it.
All right, go ahead.
And what I really want to do is work for the university. However, we won't be interviewing for that for about 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and turn down the sure thing for the possibility of working somewhere else.
I hear you.
Is it ethical to accept one job, and if I get offered for another one later, I hate to quit and leave.
Well, you got a real problem there. But is it ethical? Probably not. Oh, that's kind of a stretch, I guess. Let's go back a little bit. Let's take the job that you've been offered, all right? The one that you really don't like.
Right.
When you go to work there, are you worth something to them the first day you get there, or are the first 3 weeks going to be spent training you?
No, I'll step right into a job. They just lost their.
I'm getting at is you don't require any training. You just walk in and do the job.
Right.
Then there's no invest. Do you see where I'm coming from? They're not making any investment in you. No, I want to know.
The reason they won't. Okay, the reason they won't be training me is because of what I did in the military.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. There's no investment on their part. You see, if you said, look, the first month I'm going to work there, all I'm going to be doing is observing. I'm a total loss to them. I'd have a real problem with that. You see where I'm coming from?
Yes, I do.
But the fact is
have any money.
The fact is that you can walk right in there and become valuable the first day. As long as you're able to give them a decent amount of notice if you leave, I wouldn't have any great problem with that.
Well, thanks, son. I hope to see you again when you get up there.
All right. Do you understand the difference that I'm trying to draw?
Yes, I do. If they were to train me, they would be putting money into me.
Exactly.
And they would expect a return on that.
And they'd be entitled to it rather than expect.
Right. I agree with that.
Let's go. I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
All righty. We go from Alaska to Hawaii to Hilo. Hello there.
Aloha, Bruce.
Aloha, the Big Island.
Right. The Voggy Island, as we call it. A lot of Vog. That's our equivalent to smog.
Is that right? Vog?
The Vog is from the volcano.
Ah, yes.
Which hasn't stopped for 7 years.
I drove the kind of a circumferential road around Hawaii one time. I started over in Kona. And just kind of rode around the whole island. One of these days,
it's a long trip for us.
Is that right?
Yeah, we're spoiled over here. I got to go 30 miles. That's too far for me.
Oh, poor baby.
My husband is a big fan of yours as far as the business sense goes. I'm a big fan.
Take a deep breath. I kind of goofed. Would you wait just a second? Let me go make some money. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Now we continue with a brand new blackboard. We are in Hilo, Hawaii, with a lady who says her husband listens to me from time to time. Yes?
He listens to you for your business sense. I personally listen to you because I think you're a great parent, and that's why I'm calling.
Well, aren't you
have our teenagers. We have teenagers over here, too, even though we're on an island. My 15-year-old son, who's almost 16 and really going on 3, just got his first job at McDonald's. And this is after he ran away to the world of no rules and decided to come home because there is no world.
Yeah,
we're having a slight problem. Pardon me?
You got that part right.
Right. Well, he got his first job, and he got his first paycheck. And the first paycheck, I gave it all to him, and I told him after that, we'd split it down the middle until he got $100, and we'd open a savings account. Mom's not going to touch it, but I want him to get some business sense in saving. But my problem is that he feels that with his half of his money, he should be allowed to go to school with, let's say, $40 in our pocket. And I tend to disagree. I told him that I thought for a 9th grader now who's extremely immature, $5 is a pretty decent amount to have at school, even though you don't need that. So he's real perturbed at me for that because I won't let him, quote, use his money any way he wants to, which I will now. But in school, to me, you're either going to give it away or buy drugs or whatever the case may be,
let me ask
and I'm against it.
Let's ask a serious question, all right? How much does your husband earn?
We're very low income.
You understand what I'm trying to get to?
Well, no, I really don't.
Well, because your husband wouldn't carry around half of his week's pay in cash in his pocket.
Right.
And there's no reason for the kid to do the same thing as well.
Right.
Do you understand?
So, okay, see, that's my thing. You say, well, my friends, they have $300 in their Mercedes-Benz in the parking
lot.
All very
I don't
nice. Care.
I would say that's all very well, but look, you're my kid, you're living under my roof, and these are my rules. Now, you don't have to abide by those rules, but you want to live here? Those are the rules.
Right, those are my sentiments. As I said, he ran away and came home, and the door is still open. It goes both ways in my home.
You're a savvy lady.
Well, I was just a teenager who did the same thing, so I know he can't pull them over on me. But I wanted your opinion if you thought that, because I want him to, I'm not going to, if he wants to go to the mall and spend that money on something stupid, that's another question. But at school, you should be learning, not carrying bucks around to school.
I don't disagree. There's no reason to carry that kind of, a 9th grade kid has absolutely no good reason to have that kind of bread in his pocket. I wouldn't permit it.
And how do you feel about me taking half each paycheck and opening a savings account for him?
In your name.
To teach him that savings.
I have no problem. In your name.
No, in his name.
No, in your name.
Both of our names.
No, in
it
your
should be
name.
in my name.
In my opinion, your name. Yeah, I would want to see a fair amount of money in his name, because he's liable to go out and do something stupid with it.
He might run away and get a car and go for good this time.
You got it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know what you thought.
Well, that's what I think.
I appreciate it a lot.
Hey, being a parent is not a popularity contest. Not for 16-year-olds.
I have a theory that if they don't hate you at 15, you're doing something wrong.
You're probably like... Now, let me ask you this, before you race off here. You said you took off when you were a kid. How old were you?
I was 12 years old, and I didn't take off. I was asked to leave.
Were you really? What'd you do?
So my parents, instead of dealing with it, they tend to throw it away. I'm the opposite. I'll deal with it, and you can hate me all you want to, but I know one day you're going to come back and thank me.
What was the problem with your parents at 12?
They got divorced after 20 years, and there was 4 of us, and being raised at that particular time in California, the whole drug culture of the 60s, they couldn't deal with us. So their solution was to stick us in institutions.
Oh, boy.
And I moved to Hawaii when I was 17 to escape the craziness of California.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why my son has a hard time, because he can't do anything because Mom did everything he ever did. So he hates that.
I hear you.
I believe that one day he'll thank me for, putting these things, because nobody helped me when I was a kid. They just worked their hands.
Kids want restraint, and they keep testing until they find it. I think you're a smart lady.
Well, thank you very much.
I wish you well,
and
dear.
Take care.
All righty. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. As we bounce around the country from Alaska to Hawaii to Rochester, New York. Hello there.
This is Rochester, Michigan?
Michigan, excuse me. Well, it says New York up there. What can I tell you? Home of the Mayo Clinic, huh?
I need a clinic. First of all, I want to say I think you're absolutely super. I find your program very educational. And I have 4 sons. Like most people have trouble with their sons. This one got married. And we gave them a little over $4,000 to get into a low-income housing, and with the understanding that if they ever moved out of there, we would get our money back, no interest or anything. Well, then they got a divorce, and her lawyer, of course, is holding this money over our head, saying we're not going to let her sign off until you agree to all our demands, and it's not even their money. And so we were thinking about taking them to court and get a judgment, because we have cashier's checks and other checks to prove that the money was in fact ours. Take the club out of the lawyer's hand because the kids have nothing, and then get this thing over with. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, good.
Who is their? You say their lawyer? You mean it's her lawyer or his
her lawyer? Yeah. My son has no problem. He said, yes, in fact, you did loan us the money. Yes, in fact, we are supposed to pay it back, and no problem with him.
Are there children in this mess?
Yeah, and it was in neonatal intensive care for a long time, and he's left with all these bills, and they want half of his check, not only for child care, or child support, but child care, not only while she works, but while she goes to school.
Well, we're not going to settle a divorce here.
No, I know, but I mean, they want everything, and they're using the townhouse money.
Well, there's only $4,000 involved here. Well, that's not going to solve the long-range problems you're describing anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, in other words, all the money you just talked about, half this check and so forth, this $4,000 is not going to be a very major lever to make that work or not work.
Wait a minute. Well, all we want her to do is right now we're paying on an empty apartment because neither kid lives there.
Yeah. So what do you want?
We want her to sign off that check.
What check?
The check that the townhouse people are going to send back. Say. There's equity in it.
What's a deposit of some kind? Or?
Yeah. So when that equity check comes, we want her to sign off because it is in fact our money. But her attorney says, no way until you meet all these demands and pay my fees.
Who is you?
My husband and I.
Why would you have to meet his demands? What do you got to do with anything?
Well, that's true. We want to get our money out of it.
I know all that, but why does he want you to pay his fees?
Because the kids don't have any money.
Oh, for crying out loud. Yeah, I'd start a suit if I were you.
Yeah, I think so.
Tough. But see, there's a lesson there.
You'd never learn.
Well, what I've suggested to other parents is if you loan your kids money, particularly married children, by all means, but then get a second or a note that puts you in front of all other creditors, so they just can't play these kind of silly games in the event that a marriage goes a cropper. Does make sense. Oldsmore, Florida. Your turn. Hello there. Oldsmore, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Let's get it on, kid. I am just fine.
Well, that's good. I'm no kid, though, but, I'm one of these fellas that thought I'd never call you, and then all of a sudden, here came a problem.
Son of a gun.
I have a commercial loan that I've been paying on for a building. Actually, it's a mortgage, I guess, but anyway, it is.
Well, which is it, a mortgage or a loan?
It's a mortgage.
All right.
All right.
I mean, both are loans, but a mortgage is secured by property. Go ahead.
Right. So anyway, it's a rather large mortgage payment that I make every month, $20,000 plus, and part of the agreement since 1979 has been to fund a replacement reserve, a little over $700 a month. And
wait a minute, but part of what agreement? With whom?
With the mortgage company.
You were supposed to be putting another. Well, this goes. What did you say? $740. What am I thinking? $6,000 a year into some kind of a fund to provide funds for
replacement reserve
of the building itself.
Of the building itself.
Have you been doing so?
So yes, I have been. So anyway, all of a sudden these funds got to be pretty big, and I said, well, I should be making interest on them, and they said, well, you can. So I bought treasury bonds and sent them down, and they'd reimburse me the funds, and over the years, finally got up.
How can you just so we have some reference point? How much money are we talking about?
Well, right now there's over 100,000 in them.
Nice number. Yeah.
So anyway, in 1987, I said to them, why can't we put this in a certificate of deposit? So in November of 1987, they said you can, and at that point there was $82,000 in the fund. And so they said, write us a letter and direct us to do that, and in the letter tell us that after a year you will direct us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they put it in the certificate of deposit, and they're part of a savings and loan bank, and so a division of a bank. So they put it in the certificate of deposit, and in 1988, when it came out, I got my report at the end of the year, and my auditor picked up the interest and credited it to the account. And then I got my report in 1989, or for 1989, in February of this year, and there wasn't any interest. So I called the company.
You mean new interest this year? You mean?
Right, for the next whole year.
Yeah, and what'd they say?
They said, well, you never directed us what to do with the money, so we just kept it in a non-interest-bearing account.
You gotta be kidding.
I said the same thing. You gotta be kidding me. What did you do, throw in a drawer?
Well,
I said, besides that, you're owned by a bank, and the bank made the float. I'm entitled to some money.
I would think so.
So, anyway, I've written all kinds of letters, and I've talked to too many secretaries, and I finally got a hold of the name of the man who's the president of the bank, and I wrote him a letter. And what I've suggested is, well, maybe I'm not due a full CD rate.
I don't see why not. Did they not notify you that the CD, a CD by its nature is a term investment?
Right.
It could be a short term, long term, but it's a clearly spelled out in advance term, right?
Right. I'm a bank board member.
Well, then you know better.
I know better.
Now, when the term is expired, customarily, the owner of that money is notified. This CD is about to expire. What do you want us to do?
Right.
Now, you are the owner. Either you or the corporation. Somebody owns that money, sir.
Right. It's my business, and it's in a corporation.
Well, but then the corporation owns the money.
Right.
And you are the principal executive of that corporation.
Right.
I think they had an obligation to notify you of that you had to make a decision of some kind.
They never notified me.
How much? Let me see. You said there's about 90 grand there?
Well, yeah, it came out at 89,000.
Well, let's call it 90 grand. So you're talking about at 8%, right? $7,200 here we're talking about.
Right.
I'd be screaming like a bear with my foot in a trap.
Well, I am. I offered to settle with them for a passbook rate, which would be $5,800.
And what'd they say?
And they're arguing with me about that.
Well, I'd say, look, fellas, you're going to argue this in court. You're going to argue with me. Which is your choice?
Well, that's exactly what I've said.
That's exactly how I posed it to him.
And I thought, well, maybe Bruce would have a different idea.
No, I think that first, you said you're on the board of a bank?
Yes.
A different bank?
Oh, yes.
Well, why don't you have the president or CEO of your bank make a phone call, brother to brother kind of thing?
Well, I've run it by him, and he said... He told me that that's what he would suggest I do. But I'm in Oldsmar now and
what?
Run my business out of New York.
Without regard to that, I'm asking the guy, don't you realize, you've been around the barn once or twice?
I guess so.
There's a fraternity of every industry.
Right.
And if one banker calls another, frequently the guy will do the other guy a favor.
Right.
That's what I'm suggesting the CEO of your bank call the CEO of that institution.
Well, that's a good idea, and I've kind of pursued that, but I haven't had him do it. I really think that this savings institution down in Washington...
I think they screwed up.
I think they did, too.
I'll disagree.
Of course, we've gone into another year, and it's pretty hard to take profit out of 1 year.
Well, that's another matter.
Right.
I told you how I'd handle it.
Yeah.
I do wish you well, friend.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
I really enjoy your program. I have it on the radio constantly, and... certainly think it's an asset to the nation that a program like that's available for people that have problems.
You're very kind. We'll do it again, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. Yes, this is Talknet. Ritzville, Washington. Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you today?
I am fine, thank you.
I'm calling because I'm interested in beginning a savings plan.
Good idea.
And I don't know how to do it.
Well, tell me a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm a nurse, and I've just finished continuing my education, so this year will be becoming an RN.
All right, married, single, what?
Married, 2 children.
Husband's working too, and so on and so forth?
Husband works for the county.
Combined annual?
$32,000.
Own your own home, what?
Yes, we owe 6 more years on.
Well, how much I'm trying to get to is what kind of money you ought to have left over to think about doing a little bit of saving. That's all. How much is your monthly mortgage?
$274.
Well, that's certainly well within your.
Yeah.
You guys ought to be able to, after taxes, be able to put aside at least a couple $100 a month.
And then just put it in a savings until we get how much?
Well, how much do you have stashed as we speak?
None.
And the savings account's the place to be. Alternatively, you could open it. Well, even there, it'd be difficult to get $1,000 on money market mutual fund. Okay. The savings account's the place to be.
Okay. Is there? Who would I go to have someone help me figure out what to do?
Here's the problem. With the kind of money you've described, anybody who's interested in you, I'm not interested in. What does that mean? It means you're going to have to start doing some reading. Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Moody's, the Money Magazine. There are a whole bunch of things you can read.
Okay.
But it's. I don't mean read them from cover to cover because that could be a bit of a bore. But there's only there's just no. You work pretty hard for your dough, you guys, right? You worked hard to get that RN, didn't you?
Right.
Well, you have to work hard to learn to invest your money. And there's a bunch of stuff on television. There's a radio program or two you can listen to.
Just seems like everybody that I've heard so far, they talk about these big bucks, and we don't have the big bucks.
I understand that, but little bucks do grow into big bucks. Start with Money Magazine.
Okay.
I think you'll find it's well worth it. It's easy to read. It's not brain surgery.
Oh, good.
I do wish you well. Congratulations on the RN.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. I'm so pleased you're part of this thing we know as Talknet. Enid, Oklahoma. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. How are you doing?
I am just fine, thank you.
Good. I have a question. I recently responded to an ad in the paper. It was under the sales category, and found it to be a multi-level marketing concept. And basically, they're selling memberships.
Memberships in what?
That provide services.
You get a MasterCard or something in that order?
MasterCard, long-distance
telephoning. So I was asked to get involved in that as recently as yesterday.
As recently as yesterday.
I really was. I received a call from the West Coast and asked if I would do some commercials for the company.
Must be the same company.
Yeah, it's got to be.
They're on the West Coast, and they've just, okay. So what do you think?
Well, I have looked over. I am not enthusiastic about multi-level marketing.
I am not
Let's
either.
start with that, okay?
Okay.
I have looked at some of the material for the not all of it. Interestingly, if you'll look at their material very closely, you'll notice they do their banking on the East Coast.
Right.
And I do know some folks at that bank, and one of these days, if I can find a time, I'm going to give them a call and see what their experience has been.
Right.
The concept of what they're doing, I think, maybe has some merit. It's certainly not unique. The idea of giving you a little bit back on your credit purchases. I mean, Discover Card's been advertising like crazy. Get something back. I have no quarrel with some of the interchange coming back home. Discounts in hotels is not an unusual feature. I mean, a lot of companies selling you memberships and organizations to do that.
Right.
The thing that I'm uncomfortable with is the multi-level marketing approach. Because it fails by its own weight. If everybody did what they're supposed to do, we'd be out of people in a hurry. Now, we all know it's not going to happen.
That's right.
I don't know how good or how bad the company is you're describing to me. I just don't know that. The fellow that I spoke with certainly was well-spoken and seemed sincere. As I understand it, if you do become involved in this...
Relations, sales... things of that nature, office work.
Why have you focused on government as contrasted with the private sector?
Well, for one, there's an opening. There's a lot of openings down here in the school areas, the county. The benefits are very good. I thought it'd be a good starting place.
All right. How old are you?
29.
Okay. Go ahead.
I wanted to know the gist of my resume, what they would like to see and what they wouldn't like to see.
Well, first of all, I'm not real strong on resumes. But let's talk about you for a minute. What do you have to let's forget about resume form.
Okay.
What's your educational background? Top.
Okay, I have about 15 more credits for a BA in business administration.
Well, then get your BA first of all.
Okay, I'm going at night.
No, go back are you married, single, what?
I'm married with a child.
I'd get a part-time job and go knock the thing off because you're so much more employable when you have your degree. You're one semester away from graduation.
Correct.
Go get it done.
Okay, one more question.
Wait a while. Just hold on now. Now, what have you done and what is your work background that we're going to talk about?
Okay. I've worked, through college I've worked in the sales area, clothing, part-time clothing sales.
How's that going to help you in terms of these jobs you're looking for with the county or the school
Well, it
board?
won't. I wanted to know how far back I should list previous employment.
I'm not. You see, you're back to that stylized, stereotypical resume.
Okay.
That's a waste of time.
Okay.
What you have to do is write a letter, and in the letter explain what a great guy you are. And I know that's self-serving, but that's what we're talking about.
Right.
And you have to convince them that they can't get along without you. Well, you're laughing, but that's your career path right now.
I agree with that.
Get that done.
Okay.
I'll get to it. You're going to see it, but you're going to hit the high points. So far, I haven't heard any high points.
Well, with my school background, I'm working now in a sales force.
Doing what?
I'm selling for my company.
Selling what?
Well, it's a service company, and what I do is I deal with in the contracting industry with painters, plumbers, roofers, and
what are you selling them?
I'm selling them information to new jobs, new listing. It's a company down in Florida that has started out, and they keep them up to base. It's with a local the home builders.
Kind of a junior-sized Dodge reports.
Well, not junior size. It's a little bit bigger than that, but they've been around a while.
Well,
but it's on the same line.
Okay.
They're affiliated with one of the big contracting firms in town. helps them out quite a bit. But I'm not going anywhere with them. I want to get out of that area.
Well, it seems to me the first thing to do is knock off your education.
That makes sense.
And the next thing, to sit down and figure out what you do as, you're just looking for, see, the problem is, I understand this, you're looking for a job, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't care what kind of a job. As a practical matter, you'd work for all these people.
Correct.
And from my point of view as an employer, I don't want you.
Why is that?
Because I want you to want to work for the school board. For some reason, you've focused on school boards. That's where you want to be.
Okay.
When somebody comes in here and wants to work on my show, I don't want somebody who says they want a job in radio or they want a job, period. I want somebody who says, boy, I would kill to be on Bruce Williams' show.
Well, I would be fine once they get in for an appointment. I would definitely.
But the point is, you're not going to get an appointment till you persuade me of that ahead of time. Do you understand?
Okay.
I don't think you do.
Well, not really. I don't think I'm grasping everything that you're...
What I'm saying is that we need somebody to work on my show. Let's assume that's the case, all right?
Okay.
The guy or gal that gets that job, if I got something to say about it, would stand on their ear, come in 30 hours a day, work weekends for nothing. That's the guy that I want, somebody who says, wow, that is where I want to be more than any place else. I am into radio. It isn't TV I'm looking for. It's not dog management. I want to work on that talk show.
Okay.
You understand?
Well, don't you need to get in to speak with these people?
No, you got to convince me beforehand or you're not going to get in to speak to me.
With a letter of introduction?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, now I'm getting the drift.
I mean, for pity's sake, there's a million people looking for work. Always.
Right.
But I want somebody who wants to do what... In other words, sure, you want to get paid, and certain you want to be paid well, and yes, you want to enjoy what you do. But I want somebody who really takes an interest in what I'm doing.
I agree with that 100%.
And then you got to persuade me of that before you get through the door. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You won't get the interview unless there's something in that letter to give me that feeling. That's what it comes down to. Good luck, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Newton, Mass. It's your turn. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
That's good. You have a great program.
Thank you very much. I get a little frustrated with fellows like that last guy. I do. I feel sorry for him. I really do.
Well, that's understandable. You show great patience with people, though, even though some of it must be terribly frustrating. But something I wish I had the talent to do.
It goes with the territory. What's on your mind?
Okay, I've gotten a couple of things in the mail here from two different firms offering me some financial assistance. I have been bankrupt about 3 years ago. I foolishly pushed myself to the limit trying to get a little business operation going, and it didn't work. I had a nervous breakdown, and I went bankrupt. So, one of these guarantees me if I buy their package, their special program package, I will absolutely be able to get a mortgage on a home to buy a place with little or no money down.
Hey, this is one of these credit repair operations?
Well, it doesn't say so. They, although when I call their 900 number...
900?
Yes.
You got to pay them up front.
They listed all kinds of other services available, too. But this particular letter and this offer is that I am confirmed to receive special financing program, which will absolutely allow me to obtain a low down payment or possibly no down payment mortgage. The mortgage cannot be turned down, it says.
You know what they're going to tell you about? The assumption of an FHA or VA mortgage.
Okay, now, that's nothing wrong with that.
No, except there's no reason to charge you for that kind of information.
Yeah, this is $40 for the package.
Forget it.
I could get that information through the government without...
Absolutely, or from any place else. From any Money Magazine or any Financial Times or half a dozen others.
I see. All right. I was wondering, it sounds very good.
Investors Daily, Wall Street Journal. I mean, goodness gracious.
Okay. The other one that is offering me their own courtesy express card membership has been approved.
Yeah, that's another swindle.
And my credit line is already
in place.
$3,850.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only problem is that $3,850 is in their catalog.
Yeah, right.
You got to buy their merchandise, and you do it to put a down payment down. The down payment covers the cost of the merchandise.
Is that inflated?
That's the way it works.
It's that inflated in the
Absolutely.
price?
So any quote credit they give you is profit. No way they can get banged, and you have to pay for that card too.
Right.
For some kind of a gold card or something.
$40 for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No credit check guaranteed.
Yeah.
But the fact is that there's so. I knew a guy in the furniture business some years ago. He made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. His deal was when you walked into his furniture store, he'd give credit to anybody, right?
Yeah.
But your down payment had to cover the cost of the furniture. So he didn't care. I mean, he cared. He wanted to collect. Don't misunderstand me. But when you walked out with that furniture, it was paid for.
Mm-hmm.
He worked on a 70-80% markup. The rest was financed. That's right. Yeah. And on top of the markup, on top of all that, he then charged 18 to 25% interest. Not a bad deal if you can bring it off. Now, unfortunately, all of these things they make you smile, but talk about all it glitters is not gold. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Oswego, or is it Oswego, Oregon? Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, baby.
It is Oswego.
All righty.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking my call. I wanted to call so many times. Bruce, this is concerning my husband's job.
All right.
He is a cabinet maker by trade, has worked for a union shop for 10 years, and he's bored. He's tired.
Bored out of his mind.
Yes. He does side work on the side, and he does real well. He's always been had real satisfied customers. And when we bought our home 4 years ago, he had this in mind to start his own business. So that's partially why we bought, where we bought, and the property, so we can add on. He could basically work out of the shop we've got, but anyway, I don't think a lot of it. But then
here comes the paycheck every 2 weeks syndrome, right?
Right, exactly. We're into a house that we have payments to meet. Yeah. I work full time. It takes both of us to work full time. And
I understand that.
I'm just real nervous about him doing this.
Well, what are you nervous about?
About being able to pay the bills.
I understand that.
Because we got ourselves into this 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And every nick you're living from paycheck to paycheck.
Just about. Well, we have savings.
How much?
We have 2 IRAs that we got 4 years ago.
How much have you got stashed away right now?
Right now, stashed away.
Right now. What's your first name?
My first name is Stephanie.
All right, Stephanie. How much you got stashed right now, Steph?
I'd say $20,000.
All right. How much do you guys earn a year?
About 50.
All right. So you got 2/5 of your annual income put away. How much does he earn?
About half. We're pretty even there.
Okay. Now here's the thing.
A little more.
Okay. Here's the thing, Stephanie. There is a certain amount of risk involved. I don't know if the guy is good at what he does. You say he is. I'm willing to accept that. And I don't know how much business acumen he has. Because it's not enough to be a craftsman.
Right.
You've also got to be able to sell it at the right price, collect the money, and do all that sort of stuff.
Right. The bookwork and that
all of the
stuff.
Garbage that goes along with business.
Right.
On the other side of that, he'll never get rich doing what he's doing now.
Right.
I mean, those are the facts of life. Now, how old is he?
We're both in our early 30s.
All right. There is a certain degree of risk involved.
Yeah.
Do you have children?
We have one. She's 14.
Okay. 14? You're in your early 30s?
Yes.
How old were you, Stephanie, when you first got into this thing?
18.
You had your first child at 18?
Yes.
You're barely a child yourself.
Yes. We grew up together. We're still growing up.
Well, I wasn't thinking of that so much as to you, 18 and having babies. Whew.
Yeah, that's just the one. That's it.
Yeah, I hear you. You
learned quickly.
Okay. Well, you're still a young lady. You could still go out and do this again.
Do what again?
Have another one.
Oh, no.
No. Boy, did you react in a hurry there.
Yeah, I know that much for sure.
No.
We enjoy what we're doing.
Okay, but the point is that worst case scenario, they're not going to repossess the child.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
The worst is you can lose your house.
Yeah.
Now, that's not much fun to think about.
No.
But is that the biggest tragedy that could befall you?
You're saying, I haven't gave him any negatives about this because it's up to him.
But really, you're sending out vibrations, Stephanie.
I probably am.
Let me tell you a little story. Happened as God is my judge, less than 3 hours. Well, about 3 hours ago now. When I came into the studio today. All right. Mm-hmm. I have my little friend with me today. You know who my little friend is?
No.
Mickey the Mutt.
Uh-huh.
Mickey is with me today because we're doing a long day today. All right. As we speak, he is laying on his back in one of the host chairs, having a ball here. And as I came in to where people say hello to me when I come in the building and so forth, and we were sitting chatting, and all of a sudden this little girl came out of the studio and she recoiled. Oh, I'm afraid of dogs. And she was deathly scared. Right. Mm-hmm. And we got talking about it, and she finally petted my dog, which was she's never petted a dog in my life. So that wasn't too bad. But the point is, she said to me, I don't know why I'm afraid of them. I've never been bit. I've never been attacked. And I said to these kid in their early 20s, I guess. I said to her, I would be willing to bet you anything that your mother's afraid of dogs. Mm-hmm. She said, yeah, how did you know? I said, let me have your hand. I'm holding her hand like you'd hold a girlfriend's or a child's hand, a leading position, right? Mm-hmm. Said every time when you and your mother, when you were a little kid and Mommy was holding your hand, she saw a dog, she squeezed your hand like this, right? And she sent a message to you. Never said a word, but there's danger here, something to be afraid of, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we all send these subliminal messages to people around us. Yeah. And I have to believe that just as that mother was squeezing that little girl's hand, you're sending messages to your husband.
Oh, yeah.
About, yeah. I don't think there's any probably about it.
Well, he probably would have went into this already if it wasn't for those messages.
There you go.
He probably would have.
Indeed. Now, I'm not suggesting he would have willy-nilly jump into business for himself. I think you have to take into account the risks, and failure is a possibility.
Well, just a moment ago, before me, you were speaking to a gentleman about how he had the money up front before he would build the furniture.
Yeah. Build the furniture?
Wasn't that what you were speaking about?
No.
Furniture?
No.
To the gentleman right before me?
Not that I recall. Hit the computer. I'm going to take it. She's going to pop the computer up here for just a second. What was my last call about? I've forgotten.
Well, it had something to do with the gentleman going out of business, going bankrupt, and you told him a story of somebody you knew who collected money up front for the furniture before it was even built, so that the man wasn't out if, say, somebody didn't come across with the money.
Boy, I'm telling you, you must be listening to a different program.
No.
Not me.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You're listening to it right now?
I'm looking at the computer. It's what we talked about before. We didn't talk about furniture a moment ago.
You're past,
No, honest.
It was a story that you told him of somebody that you knew. No?
No. What are you, Stephanie, are you smoking Lefty Luckies?
No, I'm just nervous probably talking to you.
Anyhow, look.
But anyhow.
There is risk involved.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that you go into any enterprise without understanding the risk.
Right.
But also understand. I'm going to leave you with something. I have a little motto that I've tried to follow all my life. Mm-hmm. For the better part of my adult life, anyway. Mm-hmm. It's consider the turtle. He never gets anywhere unless he sticks his neck out.
Yeah. Right.
But sometimes he gets his chopped off.
Yeah. Right.
Happens, kid.
Okay.
I wish you well, Steffi.
Thank you, Bruce. You have a good day.
I shall indeed. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. North Miami Beach. Hello there.
Yes, sir. Short-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Quick question on mail order. I'm thinking about going into the business, and I have answered several ads on companies that will start you out from A to Z, teach all the tricks of the trade, secrets, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I tried it once on my own and lost my buns.
Well, what did you expect?
That's basically if
you're wasting your money that way.
Yeah, I sure did.
First of all, mail order is an extremely tricky, difficult, sophisticated. Can you think of any more adjectives?
Yeah.
It is not an enterprise that one goes into lightly or easily. If it was, everybody would be doing it. See, the idea of, wow, what a great idea. Just go out and open the mail. The mailman gets a hernia, staggering and carrying the money, right?
No, I know better than that.
It doesn't work that way.
No, that's why
people are constantly saying, well, let me see, Bruce, we can sell something on your program. You got 300 and some odd radio stations. If 10 people order every night, that's 3,000 orders times 5, 15,000 a week. We're all going to get rich. Doesn't work that way.
It sure doesn't. That's why I asked the most reputable companies that advertise, teach everything from A to Z. Are they all basically the same that you know of?
They're all preying upon, maybe that's an unkind choice of terms, but I don't think it's that far out.
I don't either.
They're preying upon the unwary who feel that when you see a business, any business, from the outside, thinking, wow, that looks easy. For example, you go on a cruise, right? And here come 1,200 couples getting on a ship. Wow, look at that. Wow, it must be easy as hell to run a cruise ship because look at the people flocking to get on, right? What you don't see is the advertising, the travel agents that went to a great deal of trouble to sell that cruise, and the advertising that precipitated it, and all of the things that got those 1,200 couples on the boat, you see?
Yeah.
Same thing is true with mail order. Oh, well, here's a good product. We all see ads in magazines, newspapers, on the radio, on the television, the rest of it. And we also know that they keep doing these things, so the money must come pouring in. And what the heck? Why not? Because after all, then I don't have to go out. I can take a vacation whenever I want to, and the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
None of those things are true.
Okay, well, like I got a couple of products in mind, and I'm a professional chauffeur by trade, and it's automotive products. And I've seen a product advertised for $29.95, and I could buy the same product for 49 cents from the factory. So I figured if I sell it for, just a few bucks.
You can't sell it for a few bucks. That's where you see you better stick to driving cars. How much do you... I was going to pick on a product, but I won't do that.
Yeah.
I can think of products that certainly don't cost more than 10 or 15 cents to produce.
Yeah.
That sell for anywhere from $6 to $10.
Right.
And they ain't getting rich. Why? Because they may spend $4 on advertising, and that's $7.
Sure, exactly, yes.
Has to be spent to generate the sale.
Oh, definitely.
Or alternatively, the retailer is going to get his 100% mark. There's a whole bunch of people when I knew a guy in the manufacturing, but the lady was talking about furniture. I knew a guy who was in that, but not furniture necessarily, but that wood creations, all right?
Yeah.
And he figured if he had anything more than 10% of material cost in the retail price, he was in real trouble.
Oh.
10%. You can't, the 49-cent item sounds, oh my goodness, I could sell it for $3, make a fortune, right?
No, I wouldn't plan on making a fortune.
No, you couldn't make anything. You'd lose money.
Oh. I see.
That's what it comes down to. There's just hidden costs of doing business that you can't, well, you can ignore them, all right. If you ignore them very long, you go bust. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I found out the hard way. I bought a cleaning business with the market in South Florida. They'll work for almost nothing, and I got cut out real quick. Yeah.
It happens.
Sure did.
I do wish you well, my friend.
Hey, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. I'm Bruce Williams. And stick around, my friends, because I do need you on Talknet. Missoula, Montana. Welcome to our world. Our meeting Sheila Jaskin and me, Bruce Williams.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
I've been meaning to call you forever, and now I finally have to.
Well, I'm delighted that you did.
I am 36 years old, married, have 3 kids. My husband is a professional that doesn't make enough money.
What does he do?
He is in human services for the government. He rehabilitates blind people, helps them find work. And I have 2 part-time jobs. One of them is permanent part-time. I make $375 a month. And I have another job that I work kind of on call, so it's real spotty.
All right.
I've just started back to school this quarter. I want to pursue an RN degree. And
you're a busy lady.
Yes. And at the rate we're going, since we can't get any financial aid, I'm only able to take 2 classes a quarter, and I figure it'll probably take me 10 years to get through.
Well, that's a mistake.
Well, except we can't afford it.
Well,
We can't get any financial aid.
I think you're going to have to afford it one way or to other.
Well, how? That's my question is.
Well, first of all, you don't qualify for any loans?
No.
None
not
whatever.
at all.
None at all.
None. That's basically what my question...
Well, wait a minute. You say none. I mean, let's slough over that so quickly.
Okay.
I'm not talking about necessarily student or related loans. You can't borrow money from a traditional source.
Well, I could probably borrow money and make payments every month, but we have no money. I mean, we are...
Oh, hold the phone. Just relax. How much money would it cost to go to school, to pay the tuition so you could take a full load?
Now, let's see. It was $400 for 2 classes, which is 8 credits. So I suppose, $700 a quarter?
A quarter?
Probably.
That's $3,000 a year. How many years to get your RN?
Well, it's a 4-year program. I do have some credits that transfer from when I went to school before, but not very many.
Well, you're going through a baccalaureate program now.
Right.
So we're talking $12,000.
Right.
Why are there no student loans available to you?
That is a good question.
Well, give me a good answer.
Well, where do I go? I mean, I've been through the traditional pursuits.
Well, tell me about those traditional pursuits.
With the National College Service.
Did you go to the financial aid office of the school?
Yes. Well, I have an appointment this week.
Well, that's the first place to go.
But see, we went through this 3 years ago. I was all set to go and was turned down for any kind of help, and we didn't have anybody to do it then, and then my husband had some real serious medical problems, so it kind of...
Well, if you go to school full-time, I suspect you ought to be eligible for a GSL.
Well, I don't believe I am. We went through this route...
How much does your husband earn?
$25,000.
And you got 3 children.
Yes.
I think you'd still qualify for a GSL.
Well, we sure did 3 years ago, and I only had 1 job at that time. I know a person who's single, and she works in a grocery store, and she can't get any.
Hell of a situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Terrible.
I've commented on this before, but
I've heard it, and I agree with you.
I'm going to keep mentioning it as maybe somebody in, our program is heard in Washington, maybe some of those fools in Foggy Bottom might start to listen, that we reward the scum of the earth that drink and carry on and do nothing and earn nothing, and so we give their children Pell Grants, and people like yourself that are trying to make it and work hard, we give them no help whatever.
I agree.
And I will never understand that. I never understood that philosophy. It comes from a certain part of the political spectrum, which doesn't have much to recommend it, but I don't understand that at all.
It's very frustrating to us. We assumed 3 years ago when we decided to do this that it would just be a piece of cake and I'd get the loan and I'd go for it. But
I don't mean that you should get anything for nothing.
No, I don't want to either.
I would eliminate all of the grant programs instantly. Everything should be paid back.
I kind of agree.
But well, what can I tell you? I was thinking more in terms of could you borrow, let's assume you need $1, borrow 2, put $1 away to make the payments.
I don't think I follow.
All right, let's assume that you needed $12,000. Okay. That's a lot of money, I understand that. You'd borrow maybe $25,000 and save the extra $12,000. This is a very simplistic answer. To start making your payments until you were finished with school.
I see what you're saying.
Now,
and just go to a traditional source?
Traditional loan. Yeah, any way you can grab it. But it's just hard for me to believe there aren't some loan sources, student loan sources for you. And I realize how frustrating that is.
It is. Well, my question basically is, if we were to sell our house and move into the university housing...
Yeah, how much equity do you have in your house?
Maybe $7,000.
Go ahead.
Not very much.
All right.
If we were to move into the family housing situation, which I don't like the idea, of course, because I like my house and my yard and all that, but if we were, I could go to school full-time and we could afford it.
I'd go for it.
You would?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm wondering, I'm thinking we would end up... For one thing, it would take us a couple $1,000s to get this house marketable because it needs some just cosmetic paint, and we've got carpeting that needs to be replaced.
Without regard to all of that, fact is that you're getting your education will enable you to make a lot more money over the long run. You're a young woman.
Right.
And furthermore, you get more out of life.
Sure, I agree with that. But I'm just wondering, would we be in a situation to buy another house? That's what I'm...
You will be eventually, yeah.
eventually.
Sure.
Well, we've been mulling it over and trying to figure out if that would be the way to go.
If that's what it takes, I'd go for it.
Okay.
I do wish you well. You sound like an ambitious lady, and I really don't understand why our society really beats up on people like you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Take good care. Somebody want to contact me. I would debate that issue on any platform anywhere in the nation. On the one hand, we reward the least productive of our society, those people who really are least deserving of any reward, and we penalize those who are the most productive, people that try to save for their children, people that do without, people that want to get ahead. Them we penalize. But all you got to do is stop working altogether, get on the dole, and then, of course, after all, we have societal responsibility. Now, I don't want to see anybody getting for nothing. I think student loans should be available to anybody who is academic. I'm looking forward to it. Sheila says she's my date for the evening. Oh, my God, how did I get lucky? In any event, it's the 28th of November, and it'll be held in the gorgeous Sheraton Hotel just outside of New York City in the Meadowlands area of New Jersey, just off the New Jersey Turnpike. So if you're in Princeton or New Brunswick or New York City or Long Island or Connecticut, Eastern Pennsylvania, I do hope you'll take time to come down and see us. Tickets are available through Ticketron. Now, forget about the general admission tickets for the time being. We're going to try to work something out with those, but we do still have some Golden Circle tickets left. There will be general admission tickets available. I don't want to snow you anyway. But for the remainder of this week, the Golden Circle are $25. There's the tickets that you'll be sitting up in front, and you'll have some extra privileges, meeting folks and that kind of stuff. They are available, and we'll be talking about the general admission tickets more next week. We're trying to make some adjustments, frankly, that will make it a little more attractive for you guys. So, call Ticketron, stop in at Ticketron. But hey, if you don't come, I got a real serious problem. So do join us the 28th of November, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. You'll get a chance to meet all of my colleagues, Neil Myers, Meg Whitcomb, Bob Madigan, Harvey Rubin, all the folks behind the scenes, and of course, with the thing we call Evening with Bruce Withers, where we do about an hour and 15, 20 minutes on the stage. In short, it should be a lot of fun. It really should. Okay, Rochester, we got a clean blackboard to work with now. Go.
Hi, Bruce. I really respect your opinion, and I have a parenting question for you.
Okay, you got some brats?
Oh, I have a ton of them right now.
No,
Only one is mine.
I had 5 crumb snatchers. I know the game.
Okay, what's your opinion on giving children an allowance?
I never did.
Never did. Okay.
I made them earn it.
Okay. So it wasn't based on whether or not they did chores and that type of thing?
No, they were paid for chores and that kind of stuff, but I never gave them an allowance as such. An allowance seems to indicate you get so much a week no matter what you do.
Right.
Our kids had to work when they were, I mean work. I don't mean busy work.
Yeah.
I mean getting up in the morning. I lived in we owned a private school, and we had any number of animals. Chickens and ducks and sheep and that kind of stuff for the school. And I remember vividly watching my kids, my 2 older boys, getting on the school bus covered with the starting mash because they were feeding and they get kind of cleaned up. Too bad. Get on a bus, kid.
Okay.
At 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah, I guess my opinion is because they're part of the family and the chores need doing that they should just do them, without the allowance. But at the same time, I want them to learn to handle money, too.
Well, but why can't we separate the two?
Okay.
In other words, my kids were expected to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an allowance is something you're going to get so much a week whether you work or not. That's what an allowance means to me anyway.
Okay.
And we would say this has to be done anyway, and somebody's got to do it, so somebody's going to get paid for it.
Okay.
So we'll pay you for this job or that job. If you don't do the job, you don't get paid.
Okay,
you just don't get money because you happen to be part of the family.
Right.
Now, I agree with you. There's some things you don't pay for.
Right.
The extra stuff you pay for. Every job is not, doesn't have the kid takes the garbage out, he doesn't stick his hand out.
Right.
But there are extra things that you can manipulate that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with you. There ought to be certain things you do because you live here. You're part of the group. You made the mess. You help make garbage. You take it out. Now we're in the recycling era. You help tie the newspapers up or whatever happens to be. And I certainly wouldn't pay a kid to walk the dog.
Okay.
But on the other side of that, feeding the chickens in our case or taking care of the sheep or whatever was part of my business, and I had no quarrel with paying them for that.
Okay. I have one other quick question for you.
Sure.
When you do your thing around the country, do you just talk from the stage, or do you take questions from the audience? Or
Both.
What do you do?
We do both.
Okay.
We do
first of all, probably half an hour, 35 minutes of whatever, and then some Q&A, and then a little more whatever.
Okay, when are you coming to Rochester?
We were going to be up there, and then for whatever reason, the local station didn't work it out for some reason. Why don't
Okay, well, I'm going to call them and tell them to get you here.
Get them on the horn, because I would love to come out and see you guys.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks so very much.
Bye-bye.
All righty, over to Los Angeles. Hello there.
Hi, how you doing?
I am real well, thank you.
Terrific. Listen, you're going to think I'm brain damaged, but let me go through it and just try not to yell at me.
I just have a column here. Somebody, Sheila, as a matter of fact, handed me a column. I got to hold on a second. So look over here. It's from, I got it, Sheila. From one of the papers in Long Island. He said, the reason kind of got me thinking about this, he said, don't holler at me, right?
Right.
And this is from Newsday, which is a pretty good-sized newspaper in Long Island. It says, riding up the New Jersey Turnpike the other night, listening to WNEW-AM, we tired of Bruce Williams as the usually gentle financial advisor, kept berating a woman caller for thinking that timeshares were a wise investment. I remember that call very well. I was picking on her, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But turn the dial as we did. Williams turned up on station after station, at least 5 Talknet affiliates in all, as the car radio pulled in cities far and wide. Like it or not, Williams would be heard. I'm chuckling now. But you see, I was beating up on this woman deliberately because I wouldn't want anybody to misinterpret what I'm saying. See, if I sat there and said, well, yeah, it's working for you, some rooster out there is always saying, well, gee, it could work for me, and they get suckered into she was too sick to understand that she'd been screwed. Yeah. Now, that's okay. She's in this America, you can be that stupid, and it's not a crime, and I would like to be friends with her, you see? But I'm talking to hopefully there's at least 2 or 3 people eavesdropping on these conversations. And if I'm not clear on something that I know to be not in your interest whatever, what distresses me is somebody's liable to be sitting there and say, well, maybe that's not so bad an idea after all. And then when some very, very slick-talking salesman gets to them, they're nailed. And I think I've got a bigger responsibility to the people who are listening as contrasted with the individual I'm talking with. Having said that, hold on for a second. I'll do so with I'm chatting with a gentleman in Los Angeles, California, and the reason I went through that little soliloquy before the interlude was that I want you to understand that the reason frequently that I disagree, perhaps more than I would if you and I were sitting across a table having a drink together, is that I think there's responsibility that goes with what I'm doing to be absolutely clear on the point I'm making. Would you agree to that?
I agree.
So if I beat up on you, look out, kid. I got to feel you're bigger and tougher than me anyway. What's up?
Okay. I'm presently 32.
Well, automatically you can pick my, you know what. Yeah, go ahead.
When I was 21, I started as a salesman for a company in the burglar business.
Right.
2 years later, they made me a manager. Mm-hmm. And then they started kind of changing policies and making it very difficult for us to make a living, so I quit and started my own with
your own what?
Burglar alarm.
Your own sales?
No, my own company.
Yeah, I understand that, but did you manufacture them or sell them?
No, just installations for homes and business.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It cost me $7,000. I started up when I was 24. Mm-hmm. Things were real slow. I hate being in business. When I decided to get into business, I thought, well, if I make enough sales, I can always pay the people because I've never been to business school or anything like that. I can always pay the people to think for me, and I'll learn that way. Well, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of mistakes along the way.
Well, shake hands, man. Man, we have that in common.
I'll tell you, I don't know. Being in business, it drives me nuts. I've got 19 employees now. Mm-hmm. Well, this business is getting to be a multi-billion-dollar business.
Billion with a B?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's huge. It's gotten some companies in it that just have so many assets, they're just picking up all the little companies, and it's getting to be a nationwide thing. Most of the companies now are almost nationwide.
Somebody trying to gobble you?
Yeah.
Terrific. How big a gobble?
The offer right now is just like $1,300,000.
Not too shabby.
$100,000 non-compete over 5 years, and they also want me to work for them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the good news.
How much, before you go to the bed, how much are you earning a year now, legitimately?
I write myself about $35,000 a year, and that's it.
That's it?
Everything else goes back into the company. This is one of the reasons why I want to sell.
$1.3 billion. If you walk out with about $9 after taxes, there's $90 grand right now. They're willing to give you another $100 for 5 years.
Not to mention they're willing to pay me $75,000 a year to work for them. And they'll take all my employees, and they'll take over my building, and this and that, and all these.
Where's the bad news? The only thing I can think of is that you got an incurable disease.
No. Well, this is the situation. 3 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, these companies were selling for 10 times on their monthly. You know, they buy the recurring revenue. 2 years ago, they were buying for 25. This company has offered me 37. Okay.
You're saying, where's the top of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you something.
How long do I hold?
Have you heard the expression? And this is I want you to think about this one, because seriously, bulls make money. You heard that?
No.
You know what a bull is?
A what?
A bull. B-U-double-L. I'm being serious now.
Yeah.
What's a bull?
I don't know.
It's a bull in the marketplace is someone who thinks things are going to go up.
Yeah.
Bears make money. That's the guy who thinks things will come down and sell short and so forth, right? But invariably, pigs go to slaughter. Don't be an oink-oink.
I'll tell you something. I was so fed up a couple years ago, I kept telling myself, boy, if I could get $300,000 for this company, I'd be out in a minute, right?
Don't be an oink-oink.
Yeah, I know.
You've got a hell of a deal right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're only taking 35 out. This way, you're going to get 90 after taxes, 90 without touching principals, 100 for 5 years, and they're willing to pay you 75. That's 265 against 35. And if you're a smart young fellow, and I think that you are, you're set for life if you decide to do something else like go into the priesthood or something. Serious. You have a latitude that not one person in 10,000 will enjoy.
I'll tell you something. I'm so glad you said this. I'm just so glad because I listen to you every single day on the way home, and I keep saying, I wonder what he'd say. I wonder what he'd say.
Well, now you know what I'd say.
Well, that's great.
Because, look, there's nothing to prevent you from doing other things, going into other enterprises. You're not signing a lifetime contract with these guys. The big thing. So, like, it may go to 50 times, 60. I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
I really don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. Pigs invariably get slaughtered. Real estate is a classic example of that just now. There are people, and you're talking to a pig in this regard, although, to my own defense, there were certain tax considerations about selling stuff, all right? That were, had to be addressed. I own some real estate that I could have sold. Well, let's take, I'll get into too, but one unit that I own, okay? I bought it for $105,000 about 2.5 years ago. It's condo, and if that was the construction price, and they were hard to get, I got one. I could have flipped it for $150 the following week. Oh yeah, that was the going price on the open market. I didn't flip it; I rented it. There was a tragedy in the apartment, which there was a murder in the apartment, frankly. And a few months later, would you believe the place burned to the ground? Somebody asked me if this place was built on an Indian grave. Took almost a year to get it rebuilt. By that time, I'm wondering what the hell, I couldn't sell it for $130. So I lost 20 on paper there, right? Now, probably 115. So it's leased, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to split it out. But you see, had I not been an oink-oink, if I grabbed the 45 or 50,000 I could have grabbed overnight and paid full taxes at that time was 50%, I'd have still walked out with $25,000 for very little effort. But you're talking to the big pig here, so.
Another thing that worries me, obviously, is one of the biggest things I hated about being in business, or hate about being in business, is the fact that I think realistically, and I know this is going to sound terrible, but I think the average American is too happy. They want to get rich through a lawsuit.
Oh, we are a litigious society, clearly.
Oh, it's awful. And it scares the heck. I feel like I've got $1 million bet on the table to where somebody all of a sudden one day can throw me into court for $12 million.
Well, you do.
And it's scary.
Well, you know which way I would jump?
Yeah. Do you think they'll change capital gains this year?
First of all, the capital gains that's been proposed, in your situation, you better hope not.
Really?
Yeah, because you're going to lose money.
Oh.
But the proposal, because of a certain income, they're going to raise the whole income to 33%, as compared to the 28%. It'll cost you money.
Really?
Yeah. That's the definition.
Okay.
Rassentowski and that bunch of thieves from Chicago, He is supposedly a man of the people. You got to be kidding me. I think that the Democrats have had to come to the conclusion that the capital gains thing has to be restructured because we all benefit from activity. And clearly, when you start making it so difficult to sell things that it doesn't pay to sell them, the activity diminishes. Now, the other side of that, people are going to say, yeah, but if they do make the capital gains thing more attractive, and they only say it's going to be for 2 years, then there's going to be a lot of dumping, which will depress prices. And there's some merit to that, too, because certainly the laws in 86 depressed the real estate market, made it less attractive for the investors, so a lot of stuff went on the market. I think eventually it's going to happen. That would not, I don't think you're going to see a heck of a lot more attractive situation in terms of taxes than you have now. In your case, you're going to pay a flat 28%, because you're going to go from 15 to 28 to 33, and then you're making so much that it's going to drop back to a flat 28. So about $1.3 million, deduct 28%.
Now that is corporate tax?
That's the personal income tax.
Okay. Now, would I be taxed corporate, though? Because I just changed, they said something about you'd be taxed twice, but because you switched to a subchapter S corporation in 87.
That, I don't know. I mean, that's what I have accountants for. And I know you have them, too.
Right.
Got to turn you loose, Tiger.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
It has been a pleasure. Good luck.
Thanks, Joe.
Bruce Williams, stick around. This is Talknet. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
How you doing, Bruce?
Coming to your town next month.
Are you now?
Yes, I am.
What's the date?
I don't know offhand. I don't have my travel schedule in front of me. It's about the middle of November, something like that.
Well, listen,
you call WOOD. Well, the tickets are already going.
Are they going?
Yeah. So I suggest that you get hold of WOOD, Wood Radio, and find out what's happening.
You bet. Got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out of school for 3 years. Graduated, got a BA. I'm an accountant, CPA.
All righty.
And
you're on a fast track.
Hey.
And Sheila is looking up what I'm going to be in Grand Rapids.
All right.
November 16th. I was right. At the Grand Center. I guess that's in the Grand Am Hotel, Grand Amway Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a hell of a hotel.
Nice place.
Wow, that is some. They could make anybody's diet destroyed. Isn't that true?
It is. I'm going over there tomorrow to have lunch.
Goodness gracious. Okay, you're a CPA on a fast track. Go.
Yeah. Thinking about going back and getting an MBA.
Why?
Well, because I'm kind of contemplating a job change.
What you want to do?
Well, thinking about getting into industry. The pay here is not the greatest, but
the pay here, you mean in Grand Rapids, or the pay in your particular position?
In my particular spot.
But you're only 24?
25.
Well, for what? I mean, I want you to take a look at both of your feet right now.
Yep.
They operative?
You're right.
No chains on them.
Nope.
Well, what's just to prevent you from taking a walk down the hall around the corner across the country?
Nothing.
Do you like being an accountant?
Yeah. You know, I like working with the numbers and things like that.
Well, I'm not 100% sure why you want to get an MBA then. I can see it's nice exercise.
Yeah.
And maybe something to do in the evenings. Are you married?
No.
Okay, it's a nice place to spend your evenings. Seriously, I mean that in the nicest way. Who knows? You maybe the other people with similar interests and whatever.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't bag it right now. I think you got the experience. I think you're going to get the experience. But I mean, are you working for one of the big eight?
No.
Do you want to work for one of the big eight?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm. You want to have your own practice. It's like pulling teeth here. What do you want?
No, I was thinking about getting into industry, maybe internal auditing.
Well, MBA is not going to do much for you there.
No. Well, I guess just in looking at one ads and things like that, you always just see that.
You know what bothers me about, now I want you to be honest with me, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm at a disadvantage. Oftentimes, people your age, particularly because the bulk of your life has been spent in school, want to crawl back into the womb and things get a little tough.
I agree with you 100%.
School is kind of pleasant, and it's warm, and it's cozy, and you're comfortable there and whatever.
Right, never had it so good.
Exactly, and nobody beats up on you.
It's true.
I have a suspicion that maybe you've been getting beat up on a little bit, and things aren't going quite as fast as you'd like them to go. Back into the womb.
Yeah.
Doesn't work, man. What Thomas Wolfe said, you can't go home again. He was absolutely right.
Right.
It will not be the same this time out, trust me. The fraternity parties and the beer drinking, that was a lot of fun when you're 21, 22. I would hope for the 25, but that has less appeal to you.
Right.
I went to a homecoming about a month ago at my college. Boy, did they look young. And wow, nobody wanted to go to a football game. They're all sitting there drinking beer and so forth. And they were all good kids, and I'm sure they're going to grow up to be pillars of the community and senators and presidents and the rest of it, right?
Right.
And I'm thinking, was I ever that young, or did I ever get a kick out of that stuff?
Yeah.
I don't think it's time. I don't think it's time to go home just yet, my friend.
All right.
Want to go in the evenings? Fine. Want to change to another firm? Not to worry. But I really think it's cold out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I know the feeling.
Okay.
Hey, I hope we get to see you on the 16th.
You bet.
Okay, Dave.
Thanks, Bruce.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
Hello?
Hi.
Good morning.
Boy, I catch you unawares. Are you doing something special?
Well, yeah, except I'm not Union City, Tennessee.
Well, somebody dropped out and you kind of snuck in. So what's on your mind, kid?
I want to know about a mortgage situation.
Where are you calling from?
Tacoma, Washington.
All righty.
The Great Northwest.
Yeah, home of Pete Bentine, my old Army buddy.
Okay.
Bentine Motors. Let's give him a plug, okay? I just named this place.
I've never heard about it.
He's a car dealer in Tacoma.
Okay.
Hell of a guy.
What I wanted to talk about was my wife and I bought some property. We're looking to build. Problem is, we have a lot of late payments on our bills. 30, 60, 90 days.
In that case, did you say you bought, or you are buying, or you contemplate buying?
Okay, we have bought and we are buying.
You're going to have a hell of a time getting a mortgage for a house.
Yeah. Well, it's not something we want to do right away. We're going to...
How soon?
2 years.
You're still going to have a hard time.
Okay.
You have all this late stuff. Why do you have so many lates in your life?
Well, I guess being young and overextended the credit, that's okay.
First you get your act together.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot build credit quickly. It just cannot be done.
Okay.
How old are you?
28.
Okay. There are two ways if you got shabby credit you can buy a house. And one is with a cosigner sometimes of substance if you're paying. All right.
We've been listening to your stories. I listen every day. So your last several weeks, you've had several calls about people on that. And so we've been taking those words of wisdom.
Is he flying for a major now?
He is a corporate pilot. And that's our problem.
What's he driving?
He's right now driving a D3. He has 9,000 plus hours, heavy time.
Heavy timer, yeah.
And
how old is he?
He is 38.
Okay.
He has an ATP, of course, and everything that goes along with all that. For years earlier, he's looked at the airlines as a sometime job, but with the realization that his one problem is that he doesn't have 20/20 uncorrected vision. And that seems to be a standard that the airlines and the Air Force has had for many years.
What was a standard to get in? Once you were there, you had to have it. You had to have 20/20 or 20 something corrected.
Corrected.
But you had to have it uncorrected to get in the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he's always said, well, that's not a possibility for me because...
I'm not sure that's true, though, with some of the airlines today.
Well, they have lowered that, and they are in the process of lowering it steadily, and they've gotten it down to 2,100. Unfortunately, we're closer to like 2,300. But my question with that is that he has always had the same correction for his entire life, and I myself having quote-unquote 20/20 vision, well... On some days you might squint and you might get by and you probably don't have 20/20 anymore, but I don't bother to have my eyes checked as regular as anybody else.
Sure.
And we're wondering at this point, how long should he keep beating his head against the wall feeling that he's really being discriminated against? Because you hear of the accidents they're having. Our first comment was a couple of weeks ago when the airline in New York went into the water was, gee whiz, both those guys had less than half the time that my husband has total time, but they probably both had 20/20 vision, and they knew the trouble they were in because they could see it on the way down.
Your point as well. First of all, it never made sense to me, and maybe somebody will explain this to me one day. If corrected vision is acceptable, and it must be, otherwise you'd be washing everybody out at around 32 years old. We all start, our arms start to get too short, for most of us. It's a natural condition. I mean, I can still... As we sit here in my control room, I can read the numbers on the calendar 30 feet away, whatever it is, that I suspect that most people 22 years old could not read. But I still need my glasses for very short stuff. That's just a natural condition. It's part of the aging process.
Right.
But it's always made me wonder why it's perfectly acceptable to have a guy up there driving with 20/20 corrected, but you can't start him off that way. Now, the argument could be made that, well, if his vision as a young person is whatever the numbers are, it could be the logical extension is it will deteriorate and get worse and so on and so forth. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not an oculist. I'm not an optometrist or an ophthalmologist. I don't know the answer to that. But it just would seem to me there ought to be some consideration for the fact that once with today's modern optic devices, that if your vision is correctable, I don't see why he should be excluded.
Well, the thing that my argument is that his maintenance vision has been that for some 25, 30 years.
Yeah, I don't understand. But I would think that there is such a, as we speak, there is quite a demand for pilots, particularly because there's some labor problems with a couple of the airlines.
Right.
Now might be the time.
Well, he has considered that, and he has sent in a few of them. Now they have a $25 even fee to send in an application.
So what?
And he's done that, but they cash his check and you never hear from them again. And it just seems really unfair. And we that travel a lot on the airlines ourselves, you get on the airline and you see the guys with the glasses and you see the 25-year-old kid and you think, gee whiz, what am I doing? How safe is this?
Well, I don't know. I have no quarrel with a 25-year-old kid, to tell you the truth. Let me tell you something. I remember in the Air Force, I don't want to start telling war stories, but I remember very vividly a kid got off a plane after landing the plane on a beach, on a sand, right? This was not an American kid. And I thought, maybe he's hitchhiking a ride someplace. Turns out he was the captain. If he was 17, he was old. And he was landing that plane on a beach under very nasty conditions. And took it off on that beach and did very nicely with the whole thing. The time would be, if you got somebody, a light timer up there, I prefer to see gray hair, balding heads in the cockpit, frankly. I'm not real enthusiastic about people learning while I'm in the back seat back there. But on the other hand, World War II and Korea and Vietnam was people driving airplanes under much more stringent conditions that were 25.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying that, an age being specifically determining factor, but I'm a great advocate for experience, be it in
I hear you.
Or flying,
Can I share a quick story with you about flying?
Sure.
First, you know how I found out I needed glasses? This is true. I was with my kid, my youngest son, Michael. He was about 5 or 6 years old, and we were in IFR conditions, and I couldn't read the sectionals to figure out what was going on. So, Michael, we got a problem. What's that, Pop? I can't read this stuff.
Oh, no.
Mikey was, as I said, he must have been 5, 6, and we were going to pick up his brothers at football camp. But by golly, we came out of the gunk, and there was the airport, so he must have done something right.
Yeah, right.
But in any event, I was in... I don't want to tell you where this was because I wouldn't want to embarrass anyone, all right?
Okay.
But I met a man, and I'm being deliberately, I'm going around the bar in the back way, but I met a man. I was introduced to him by one of our account executives. Now, the account executive was about 23. How old are you?
I'm 35.
Oh, well, you're an old woman, see. Because
Thank you very much.
Oh, you are, because at 23 years old, baby, anybody over 30 is ready for retirement. You got to understand that, right?
Okay, well, I'll get my cane out tomorrow.
In that context, you understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
And he said, this guy is a big fan of yours, and he'd like to meet you. I think he was a pilot in World War I. World War I? I'm doing the arithmetic, right? I get over there, and here is this very slight little guy, and he is doing his craft, and he is certainly a craftsman. And I said to him, do you understand that you're in aviation? Boy, his eyes lit up, and he said, yeah, let me show you some pictures. Well, it wasn't World War I, it was World War II, okay? This guy was a P-47 pilot. I don't know if that means anything to you or not.
Sure.
That was the first airplane to break the speed of sound. And it did it in a full power dive. Now, you had to have a very, very strong stomach to put an airplane that size into a full power dive, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no G-suit on it.
And pardon me?
Probably no G-suit then either.
And this guy had pictures of, he had survived a mid-air collision, and not many people get that privilege, and then he had gone through a farmhouse in France on a strafing mission. Flew right through the house, cleaned both wings off, and survived. Have pictures of that.
Goodness.
All before he was 20.
And lived to tell about it.
That's right. Now and now he had a very relatively pedestrian life the rest of his life. But this was a guy before he was 20, and he showed me a little picture of Lieutenant so-and-so with his crew in front of this P-47. And I have a suspicion for the next 40 years, people who walked into his store never realized here's a genuine, dyed-in-the-wool, did-it hero type with a great deal of courage, you see.
But that's the kind of guy that you want piloting your airplane.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I don't know, I just feel very strongly that the experience there is so important.
We have nothing to quarrel about in that regard. Nothing whatever. The point I was just trying to make, and it really had little to do with what we were talking about, and I apologize to you, is that so often we meet people who really would have a story to tell if only somebody would have the interest, would listen and ask.
Right.
Would listen and ask.
Right.
Hey, you're a sweetheart, and you're really not that old.
Well, listen, I have appreciated listening to you for many years, however, and you give out the good, kind, fatherly advice that I wish my dad could still give me. Thanks a lot for your help.
That was a nice thing to say. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
Keep your wheels up, honey. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
This is Jack Shea. When news happens, WSPD is there, and we'll cover all the angles. AM 1370 WSPD is Toledo's news station.
Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's your turn. Hello there.
Yes, Bruce.
Hi.
I've got a little bit of a problem.
Let us talk.
Okay. In August of '84, my husband and I sold our house. We went through the real estate agent. We let them handle it all.
5 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because actually, I'm sorry, Bruce. That's when we listed our house. The sale did not go through. The people wanted the house. They were going through FHA. So the closing did not happen until February of '85.
Oh, 4.5 years. Still a long time
ago. You know, right. Okay, now, like I said before, they went through FHA, which required all kinds of inspections, you know.
Oh, yes.
The licensed termite inspector came out. He looked at our house. He did not have anything to do with me nor my husband. It all went through the agent. She called. She said, he says he found termites. He's spraying. There's a little bit of damage. We've got to get that fixed, and then you'll be all set. She took care of all of it.
All right. Now, in the report, it said there was some termites, and they were being treated. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. And there was damage. Did you have that damage corrected?
Exactly. She sent a contractor out there. The man repaired the damage. I did not see anything from the termite man at all. This was all through our agent. She and him took care of it. There was a report saying that it has been done. Okay. FHA approved the loan. The people got the house and moved in.
Okay.
The other day, we received a note saying we're being sued for breach of contract.
4.5 years later?
Yes.
For what?
The house had termites, and there was damage.
Well, so what?
That's what I say. But nobody wants to listen to me.
Well, you're going to have to defend yourself. You simply can't ignore it.
Right. Exactly.
You're going to have to call an attorney, unfortunately. How much are they asking for monetary damages?
It does not say. It does not say.
Well,
they are suing us, and they're suing the termite people. They've already sued the termite people once. They lost. They sued our agent once. They lost. Now they're going to try it this way, I assume, and see what happens. I still cannot figure out how they think we breached the contract.
I don't either, but that's a matter for the lawyer. See, lawyers have a propensity, and I'm not going to say it, if I were the plaintiff, I would disagree, of suing everybody in sight, including the mailman that carried the check, you know, the kid that was playing hopscotch on the sidewalk.
Right.
And it's up to you to get excused. Now, I think your attorney is going to try to get you out of this just by saying that this is specious, that you did what you were required to do, and so on. But it's going to cost you.
Oh, I know it. That's what makes me so angry. Now, see, I've got to retain an attorney.
You got it. And of course, you in turn, if your attorney feels that this is frivolous, you can sue them for starting a frivolous action. That occurs to me that 4.5 years later, are they? Well, you don't even notice, I guess, at this time. Are they alleging damage before the sale or after the sale or what? Did the damage that they are complaining about take place during the period of time when you owned it or subsequent to that time?
I'm assuming during the period of time that we owned it and that it was not fixed, that there was more damage than what was fixed. Now, I will admit, Bruce, I did not get underneath that house and crawl around and look for termites myself.
I got news for you.
But then
if you got under there and crawled around, I'm serious when I say this, how would you know what a termite is?
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. I don't operate on my children either when they need surgery.
Indeed. I'm glad to hear that there's two of us that think we use experts from time to time.
But he was licensed, he was bonded, he sent the clear letter. You know, everything was on the up and up. We closed out the house. As a matter of fact, before she was even given the keys to the house, because when she found out that, you know how you sign the papers and then we have 30 days to move, the woman assumed she owned the house and she went through our house when we weren't at home.
Oh, nice.
And I know. And so I called her and she said, well, technically I own the house. And I said, well, honey, legally we own the house. And
how do you technically own a house? Hey, look, I've got to let you go. If I were you, and I'm sure you've already done
well,
this.
she did sign a paper that day saying that she has inspected the house. Okay. Everything is fine.
Let's call a walkthrough, but then she can't be expected to find termites either. That's why
I know.
That's why you're both using that. But get yourself an attorney, dear, and good luck. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet.
USPD.
Los Angeles, it's your turn. Hello there.
Thank you for taking my call, Mr. Williams.
Not at all. What's on your mind, Tiger?
I have got kind of a problem, and I'm trying to deal with an insurance adjuster.
All right, that'll happen. What kind of a loss are we talking about?
Well, I'm down here on vacation from Oregon, and I had some car problems, and so I borrowed a friend's car that was in storage that didn't have any car insurance, and at the time that my car was in the shop, his car was stolen.
All right.
And I'm still under the impression that my insurance transfers onto any car that I drive that doesn't have insurance.
Do you carry collision insurance and comprehensive on your primary automobile?
Yes, I do.
Well, it's my understanding that that's true as well, that your insurance goes with you. It would be secondary to other insurance in place if other insurance is in place. For example, if that car was insured by someone else, then your insurance would pay after their insurance had been exhausted. But since you say that there was no primary insurance, the other guy wasn't insured.
Okay, here's the thing: the bank holder that holds the ownership of the car was not notified that the car didn't have insurance for 2 years, because the car was one of the cars that I guess down here in LA are stolen quite a bit. And so what the insurance company did not notify the bank that there was no car insurance, so the bank didn't insure the car.
Well, without regard to that.
So my insurance company is saying that it should have been the bank's responsibility to have insurance on the car.
Well, that may or may not be the case, but that doesn't change your situation, I don't think. You're saying that you were responsible for the car. See, collision would be no problem here.
Right.
Because you were driving and you cracked it up, that would be the car be covered by collision.
Right.
Conversely, if you hit me and you'd have liability insurance automatically because your insurance goes with you. Sure. Drive other car privilege. The only thing we're arguing here, not you and I are arguing, but we're arguing about is that does the comprehensive go with you since the car was in your care and custody?
Right.
That's what the argument's about, isn't it?
Right, exactly.
And they say no?
No, they're saying that the bank should have had insurance on it, and so therefore they're debating on whether or not they're going to pay. And my adjuster is saying that it looks like they're not going to pay, and so I don't know which direction, because this is a personal friend of mine.
Well, wait a minute. The fact that they deny a claim doesn't just take them off the hook.
Oh, it doesn't?
Hell no.
Well,
otherwise insurance companies will always say, we're not going to pay. You see, you have to understand what an insurance contract is just that. A contract between several parties. Now, if they interpret their contract one way and you interpret it another way, we have a disagreement here, don't we?
Right.
And we have to have a third party arbitrate it, and that's generally the court system.
I see. It's interesting. They're going to cancel me after this claim December 6th.
Why?
Well, I got rear-ended in November and ended up in the hospital for 6 months and lost my job, and they paid me a $20,000 settlement, and now with this car being
they pay. Why did they pay you? There's no
because the person that hit me didn't have any car insurance.
Well, you have a history of tying up with people with no insurance, don't you?
I tell you, I had to hang around better people.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Williams, thank you so much for your time.
All right, but what I'm trying to get to is that if you don't agree with this, then you can sue your own insurance company, clearly.
I can go back on my insurance company?
Absolutely. I'm not saying you're going to prevail.
Right.
But just because they deny a claim, don't let them get away with that. They have no right to do it. They can deny. But that doesn't take them off the hook necessarily. I'm Bruce Williams. So pleased you've dropped by. This is Talknet. We're having a little party. I hope you'll be able to join us if you're on the East Coast. The party is at the Sheraton, and it is a gorgeous hotel just off the New Jersey Turnpike outside of New York City, easy to get to from Long Island, the city, from New Jersey, from Connecticut, from eastern Pennsylvania. It is the first time, to my knowledge, all of the Talknet personalities will be under one roof at one time. It's a birthday party for Talknet, 8 years old, coming up in November. In any event, 28 November is the date. It'll kick off about 6:30 in the evening now. Tickets are available through Ticketron. There are both general admission and the Golden Circle tickets, but I would suggest to you that if you're going to come general admission, you just wait. But the Golden Circle tickets are going pretty quickly. They are $25 a shot. They get you up in the front rows and some extra privileges. You'll get to meet everybody and all that sort of good stuff. And the rest of you will meet folks as well. But in any event, I'd like you to wait till next week about the GM, the general admissions. But if you would like those Golden Circle tickets, by all means, contact Ticketron with your credit card in your paw. 28 November is the time. We're going to have a real blast, and I really hope you'll stop by. We do the thing we call an Evening with Bruce Williams, my little dog and pony show that we take around the country. It'll be the first time it's ever been seen in the New York, New Jersey area, certainly in this area. I think we did it once in Princeton, but yeah, that's right. That was 3 or 4 years ago. So that if you've wanted to even hear us talk about this kind of stuff that we do and you've never seen it, this will be your opportunity. But if you want to sit up in front between now and Monday, by all means, contact Ticketron. I think you're going to find it. Not only will it be money well spent, we're going to have a good time. Covington, Kentucky. Hello there.
It's funny you should give the promo for the birthday party because I'm mad at you.
Why?
Well, we're old friends. You helped me after a fire many years ago from Covington.
I remember you had with the adjuster.
Oh, yeah. And that's all happily settled. But twice we came to New York to meet you, including one time when it was you left the day early to go to the National Convention in Dallas. Uh-huh. And one day when we had hoped to catch, and we got to meet Norma Romeo when she was with the show, and she was wonderful. And we got to tour the studios, but we didn't get to meet Bruce.
Uh-oh.
And we came again and had tried to make some arrangements ahead of time, and you had one of your speaking engagements, and we're gone on the Friday when we were there. So twice I've come to New York to meet you, Bruce, and twice you've been gone, and now you're having a birthday party without me.
Well, come on up. Go do some shopping.
Oh, sure. In your spare time.
No, really. I mean, it's the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Right.
And, you might want to come up, you and your husband, and enjoy yourselves and spend a day or two in Manhattan. You could stay at the hotel where we're going to be, and it's easy. Bop into Manhattan and do the sights and see the Christmas show at Radio City and all the things that people come to New York for.
Sure. Well, part of the problem with that may be the reason why I called, and that is we are going on a cruise about the week before that.
Where are you going?
We are going to your favorite places. We are going to San Juan and St. Thomas, what's left of them after Hugo came through. Mm-hmm. And that's why I called, because I know that you're not a big one for doing what the cruise suggests that you do, going out on your own, and we want you to help us plan what we're going to do on our own.
Give me the ports to call.
Well, it will be...
You're starting at San Juan.
Right, and it will be Charles-Maillet.
That's in St. Thomas.
Right.
And then where?
Well, then the rest of it's at our island, a private island. You probably know that.
What are you going to Norway?
No, actually, they've changed ships, and so we're not.
That's all right. Tell me the ship. It's okay.
Well, it's Sovereign of the Seas on Royal Caribbean.
And it goes from San Juan to...
From Miami to Labadee.
Oh, from Miami. Okay. Right. It's going out of Miami.
Right.
And you're going to go to San Juan, you go to St. Thomas, and you go to their private island.
Right.
Okay. I've never been... I don't even know the private island, so I can't help you there.
Well, it's just sand, so we don't care.
Okay. But San Juan and and St. Thomas are two very, very exciting places. You're going to have a great time for yourself. What are you looking for, things to do?
Pretty much just something beyond what every tourist.
How long will you be at San Juan?
We will have like 12 hours.
All right. First of all, there's nothing wrong with doing the things that tourists do. Let's start with that premise.
All right.
Not a thing in the world wrong with it.
Okay.
I would, if I were in San Juan, I would not miss Moro Castle, El Moro. And you can go out to there. There's some other areas out in that old San Juan area. You want to walk around old San Juan. You see the beautiful streets that are made out of stones, the blue stones that were the ballast in ships that came here empty and went home full, and then what would be the 15th, 16th century. There are some fine restaurants in San Juan. I would go to one or two that are not on the tourist list. The Yacht Club down by the yacht base, and I think you will enjoy. It's just a nice restaurant, and basically locals go there, as opposed to the tourists. I wouldn't take the time to go out to see El Yunque in the little time that's available to you. It's just too much. Do you like rum?
I do.
Then why don't you take a tour of the Bacardi distillery? It doesn't cost anything. You can take a ferry boat from Old San Juan across the bay, and it'll cost you $5 or $10, I forget what, to get in one of these little cars that you take your life in your hands, and takes you out to the distillery, and they have a tour. You get to drink pina coladas for nothing and so forth, and you see how Bacardi, which is clearly the leading rum of the world, you see it made. I think that's kind of fun. As I said, and you'll be in Old San Juan because then you take the ferry for a dime, I think, right from down where the cruise ships go. And your ship will be in Old San Juan, too, and it docks there. So you go from the cruise ship out to El Moro. You can the club that I mentioned, the Yacht Club, is right in that general area, and you can take the ferry boat over in the daytime over to Bacardi. You probably want to visit one of the casinos, either at the Caribe or the El San Juan or the Sands, one of those hotels, Condado Beach. You want to go to one of the casinos anyway and see what that's all about. I'll pretty well shoot you 12 hours in San Juan. In St. Thomas, the shopping used to be great. I'm not so sure it is anymore because of the weakness of the dollar or whatever, but you do get double exemptions if you buy it in the Virgin Islands. The best buys are cigarettes, which